Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a Tripto fantastic episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party!
It's super filled, stuffing filled.
What is that sound? Is that a turkey?
Well, it could be a turkey.
Because that would be appropriate for this season, this time of the year.
This episode.
Yes.
Well, speaking of turkeys, who are you, sir?
I'm a jive turkey. I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, we are going to return to a topic that we did last year that we had so much fun with that we want to do it again. The episode we did last year was called The Turkey Shoot.
The Turkey Shoot. Yes.
Where we looked at movies that were turkeys. We celebrated them, we mocked them, we examined them, we reveled in them, we rolled in them.
We embraced
shook ourselves off.
Well, some of them were turkeys that you'd like to watch.
Yes.
On Thanksgiving. In fact.
Maybe not entirely irredeemable.
No.
But for this episode is called Turkey Shoot the Gobbling.
Turkey Shoot the Gobbling!
The Gobbling!
The Gobbling!
Because turkeys gobble, I guess. Okay.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So that's it, really. And we are going to do this again. We're all together, not really together, but we're united through Zoom.
Virtually.
And of course, we need a guest. We need the perfect guest.
Yes.
We need an old friend, a confidant, a handholder in many ways.
Yes.
Fellow monster kid.
Yes. And an expert really in all the things that we love.
Yes.
And Larry, can you tell us a little bit more about this guest?
Absolutely. First of all, Matt, this is a return guest. And this is such a great topic. We really needed someone with deep, deep knowledge of turkeys.
Deep cuts.
Yeah, exactly. And this guest, he is truly amazing and a really big fan and friend of Monster Party. He's an author, he's a director, a screenwriter. He did such great classic films as Puppet Master 3, TRANCERS III, The Lurking Fear, and he's done like over 150 audio commentaries. The guy is absolutely amazing. He's also done this amazing book called NEMO Rising. Please welcome great friend of Monster Party, COURTNEY JOYNER.
Welcome.
Buddy. Hey, bud.
I'm back.
Hey, and Matt, I want to personally thank you because since you have a Wonder Woman figure behind your shoulder, I don't have to get HBO Max. I've seen it. Great.
I can make it move for you. Whatever you need. We cater to our guests.
Well,
That's right.
Now that's not the Wonder Woman that is like anatomically like perfect, like and has the
I
rubbery
don't.
skin.
Maybe it is now. I like customized. Yeah, that was a gift to my wife from James Gonis.
That's it. Yeah, indeed. It's a Wonder Woman. It's a Wonder Woman. It's a Wonder Woman Barbie, is it not?
I believe so. Yes, and it's a great figure. I really
It's
like
not
that
bad.
figure. Yeah,
They did a good job with that one.
And by the way, James, Tim Thomerson sent his very best.
Ah,
cool.
How is Tim?
Tim is just fine and going a little COVID crazy, but he's doing great.
Please give him our regards.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I'll bet he misses us.
Yeah,
I
doesn't
bet.
he consider us
Actually, he
weirdos?
does.
I'm sure he talks about us every day. Come on.
Yeah, are you still in touch with those weirdos?
High praise.
Well,
Right.
Tim
Yeah.
Thomerson is like a great person to bring up. We had him on our show, and I don't know if he's going to end up in one of these turkeys that we'll be talking about. Now, Matt had mentioned turkey films. Now, imagine, if you will, you've just eaten your big turkey dinner, and you've had all the tryptophan is going through your system, and you've had to
Spewing everything that you believe.
you
It's
have
just
to-
like messing with your perception.
Yes.
you have to unbutton your pants and undo the zipper a little bit, and you've got like your
I do that every night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I've got my tearaway turkey pants.
But it's like, you feel good. And of course, this year's going to be different. Maybe people aren't going to be getting together that much. So, maybe after you're eating, you're going to want to watch a fun movie, maybe a turkey of a movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat an entire turkey. That's my thing. I'm just going to sit there. My wife bringing me just endless ladles of gravy.
Now, and we talked about gravy last time, but Courtney, it's funny. The last time we did this show, I think some of the guys were just giving up turkey films that they wouldn't want to watch. But I was talking about films that, they may be considered turkeys, but I don't mind watching it under the right circumstances.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of both.
I have mostly that this time.
Yeah. Some are ones that are so bad they're good. Some are like guilty pleasures, but also a couple that are just disappointing, like angry that wasn't so good.
Considered bad by most.
Yeah.
But we see the joy and the gold within them.
Right.
I actually do not. My turkeys, I'm not getting any of them aparted.
Really?
Okay. Oh, hey. All right.
Very, very
Okay.
bad turkeys. That's
All
where
right.
I'm at with this.
We need you. So that's perfect.
All right.
Balance this whole thing out.
Yes.
So, Courtney, why don't we start with you? Why don't you get us off?
Okay. Now, you'll be a little surprised at this one because it is a Hammer film. It is a turkey, except for one astonishing ingredient.
Okay.
Okay.
Valerie Leone. I really do, unfortunately, think Blood from the Mummy's Tomb is awful.
Blood from the Mummy's
Interesting.
Tomb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's?
She is so spectacular.
Oh my God! Yeah, she is
that we just are
stunning.
mesmerized.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, okay, a question though: do you think it's worse than The Awakening?
Well, because they're both from Jewel of the Seven Stars.
It's both the same story, basically. Yeah.
Well, I think, unfortunately, with Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, there was so much tragedy and chaos during its making that really infected the end result. And of course, The Awakening had more money.
Yeah, could you expand on that? Because tell some of our listeners about that. Because I remember hearing about that.
Okay.
There's lots of
There was quite a bit. First of all, Peter Cushing was originally cast in the part that James Villiers ended up playing.
Right.
And his wife, Helen, had gotten more seriously ill. Of course, she later passed away. So they started with him. They had to excuse him from the production, I believe, 1 or 2 days in. So then they had to start over again. And then the original director, Seth Holt, who was brilliant job on The Nanny and wonderful with A Scream of Fear, died of a heart attack.
Oh my God.
So then he had to be replaced by Michael Carreras, who came in and he was like, my God, we just have to get this thing finished in some fashion.
Right.
Which, he did. I mean, he was certainly a competent guy, but I think all of those problems give the film kind of an unsettling and incomplete feel. It's like pieces that don't exactly fit together properly. And also it has kind of a cheap look.
Yeah.
But then in the middle of it, it doesn't, you're going, wow, this really isn't going anywhere. Boom, a dream sequence with Valerie Leone, and you're just carried away forever.
It's hard to defend that movie, like to a woman, let's just say, who's not into Valerie Leone.
Because true.
It's like, I can't, that's the thing. It's like, as a movie, I mean, if it were Phyllis Diller, it probably wouldn't have the same place in my heart, but it does, because she is just so spectacular. She's mesmerizing because there's a quality about her. It's not just that she's sexy. There's a mysterious quality that adds to the weirdness of that film. And I think that you're right that all the things that are going on, and especially when you know the backstory, it just makes it this weird, unsettling mood piece that kind of gets you excited.
Yeah. I go more to the stills, that I find on the internet than I do throwing the Blu-ray back on.
I remember like photos in Famous Monsters of her laying in that coffin in that very revealing Egyptian
Yes.
queen outfit. Like, wow.
Yes, I know that.
Publicity shots.
I know that
Yeah.
picture. I
Incredible.
know that. Remember that picture, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a disembodied hand on her stomach.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And
That is the photo of her I have autographed.
It's
Nice.
It's in black and white, and you're looking closely in the picture. Is that what I think it is? You know, you're trying to look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you blame the hand?
And as you know, as much as I actually like Stephanie Zimbalist, she's no Valerie Leone.
No,
she played the
No.
part in the Awakening. You know.
Yeah.
But
No.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's you're right though. Without Valerie in that movie, probably would not.
Yeah,
Probably
Ruth
wouldn't be as
Buzzy, it might have been a little different. A
Yes.
different tone of a film, though.
That would have been a
Yes.
completely different
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, Courtney, do you know did that movie do well? Where did that fall in the line of Hammer Mummy?
Was that on a double bill with something?
Yeah.
It was. I'm trying to remember what it was because American International distributed it here.
Right.
And it seems to me, thinking of the AIP Hammers,
Because it was after the Mummy Shroud and after.
oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was the last
It was-
Hammer Mummy film.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was thinking, did they put that out with Sister Hyde?
Oh, maybe. That's
Actually, not a bad double
now.
feature.
There's a double bill of two female leads that will keep your attention.
And well, Dr. Beck's Sister Hyde is wonderful, but
Yeah.
I know it feels like I'm kind of biting the hand that feeds me, but I mean,
You gotta
wanted to kind of get a little controversy going there.
Of
you know.
course.
You
Yeah.
have to call him like you see him, and
Yes.
that
yes.
does make sense. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think we've been blinded a little bit by the Leon, mystique.
Mystique. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Courtney, what
And
are
she's
you
a very
saying?
nice lady, so yes.
Go.
Now, are you saying that you would recommend to watch it after Thanksgiving?
You
dinner,
better.
Well, if you're
or is this, keep away?
look, let's put it this way and again, this is very male point of view.
Sure.
But if you're
Right.
full of tryptophan and you throw on Blood from the Mummy's Tomb as you drift to sleep, you will probably have very sweet dreams.
Yes, true.
if let's just say, you pop the top button, and then, no one's
When
going to
Nathan
judge
take the
where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one, Courtney. Nice one.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. This is definitely a guilty pleasure. This is one that I've talked about before. Matt, you know this film, I think.
Okay.
It's a terrible movie, but for some reason I enjoy watching it. It's definitely a guilty pleasure. And this is from 1962, Invasion of the Star Creatures.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And super low budget movie. It's a comedy sci-fi movie directed by the character actor Bruno Vasoda. He directed
Household name back then.
Yeah, he actually directed The Brain Eaters, and he's a character actor. He was seen in like the Giant Leeches, A Bucket of Blood, The Wasp Woman. And so Invasion of the Star Creatures is kind of like, you could say, like a really, really low rent Abbott and Costello or Bowery Boys type of sci-fi comedy with Bob Ball and Frankie Ray as these two bumbling army guys.
Frankie
And
Ray.
Yeah, and they stumble upon this like invasion from space thing going on, but the invasion
With
from
Amazon
space,
ladies.
Yes, there's these
Big, very
two
tall.
big, buxom, gorgeous alien females.
We're hitting a theme here because
yes,
that
Yes.
movie, I wanted
Yeah.
them, like when I saw that movie for the first time and they come on the screen, they're so tall and
yes,
and,
they are towering,
kind of
They're
muscular.
towering
I just want them to
examples
just
of.
beat me up. I want them to throw me around like a medicine ball.
Well, it's Gloria Victor plays Dr. Puna, and Dolores Reed plays Professor Tanga. And basically,
Oh,
they're
my.
trying to they have this secret base somewhere in a cave, and they're trying to take over the Earth by literally growing vegetable men, which are the cheesiest looking
Yeah, they're-
monsters you've ever seen. They're like guys in green leotards with like sacks on their heads,
Grass
and,
on
like,
their head,
like
right?
grass hanging off, and they just run around chasing Bob Ball and Frankie Ray. And there's like the army gets involved, and it's incredibly idiotic. It's like on like a Three Stooges level, but for some reason I really enjoy it.
I do too.
Yeah, it's just fun. There's like a very un-PC like Indian character in it, and there's like wacky kind of Mad Magazine type humor, and it's
Yes.
really stupid. But
Have you
it's
seen this,
fun.
Larry? James?
Nope.
Courtney, have you seen this one?
Oh,
Of course.
oh yeah. Now, wait a minute. But didn't Dick Miller write the screenplay for that movie?
I think so, and I think he may have been uncredited, maybe. But like, I think you're right. I think he was involved in the script for it, and it's just complete.
Because Bob Ball was a kind of a big acting teacher.
Really?
And he was Carl Reiner used to use him a great deal. He's Dick Van Dyke's agent in the comic.
Oh wow. Okay.
And he is in Easy Rider. He is the guy who has the great commune. And remember, they dropped Luke Askew off at that. Yeah, Bob Ball is the one who's running the commune. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So it's again it's just fun. I mean, it's like probably about an hour and 15 minutes long. They added extra footage for television when it was broadcast. They added a couple extra extended scenes because when movies were like almost just barely over an hour, they wanted to fill like a 90-minute slot or a 2-hour slot. So I think I have an old VHS, rip of it where there's a couple just extended scenes of antics,
that
on the spaceship
thing. Right?
Yeah. But anyway, it's really stupid.
Make it closer to the book.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you just turn off your brain after a big dinner and watch that with some very attractive ladies and cheesy monsters and silly sophomoric humor, then that's the movie for you.
So
Invasion of the Star Creatures.
Oh wow! So this is really going in a direction. So.
No,
James or Larry, Story of O. What are you going to do?
No. Sean, that's a nice one, but I see where you guys are going. Both of these are kind of low budget films. I'm going to go in a completely different area. Okay. Now, imagine now I'm thinking in my mind, okay, I've got all that stuffing and lard and corn and the bread.
You eat lard on Thanksgiving?
No, well,
like bowls of lard.
Okay, guys. Okay. But I'm sitting there, and I undo that button, and I want to watch something that's going to be neat and kind of blow me away.
Okay.
This film that I want to bring up is considered, or at least was considered at the time, a huge turkey. And this was a film that cost a ton of money to make. And it was a huge, big blockbuster, and it just bombed. But the funny thing is, when it came out, I was one of these people that said, I heard it's not good. I'm not going to see it. And then later on, I see it on television. And you know what? Maybe my expectations were low. And the film I thought was really great. And I think this would make a great Thanksgiving movie. I'm talking about the film from 2012, John Carter.
John Carter. That is a good film.
See, here's the funny thing. I've talked about this on other episodes. But it's like, maybe in a way I'm a bit of a champion for it because I think it's got a really bad rap, and people need to understand this was a film that the story was written back in 1912 by Edgar Rice Burroughs, who did the Tarzan thing. And it was a great series of books. This is way back when, 1912.
I've read many of them.
And they're very popular. Now, understand,
my wife is reading them too.
And studios wanted to make this film for years. I mean, my understanding is that it went from one studio to another, but with the special effects and all the things that happened in there, it was really cost prohibitive. My understanding is there was a time when Ray Harryhausen was interested in doing it. But if you guys remember Jason and the Argonauts, you have 7 skeletons and how long that took. Well, in here, you've got these creatures that have 4 sets of arms. Imagine a big battle, how long that would take. It wasn't until we get into the times when we had computer generated imagery where we could actually do it. The funny thing about the film too is Andrew Stanton, who was hired to direct it, this was a guy who was like a hero at Pixar. He had done A Bug's Life, he had done WALL-E, and so he was part of the whole Disney world, okay? And he was brought in to direct this film and do the screenwriting. And when the film came out, or just before it was going to come out, here was a film that told a story that was written back in 1912. At the same time, you had a film come out that was a little more hip called The Hunger Games. These films came out at the same time, and kids of the day, they all went to Hunger Games. No one went to the film that's about what? It's about this. It's about a Civil War guy. He's from the South, and he's captured, and it miraculously or through this funky thing, he gets transported to Mars, where he finds that because the Mars is different, he has more strength. He can like leap really far, and he has all his amazing powers, and he helps this race kind of overtake. Well, in a way, maybe the story may seem convoluted, but it's really well done.
Well, it's an old-fashioned pulp adventure.
Yes, Sean, it is.
But Disney made a mistake too by just calling it John Carter, not John Carter of Mars,
which was stupid.
And I still don't understand.
No, and the funny thing is, at the time there was this hotshot marketing gal at Disney, and she was supposed to be, the bee's knees. She was the best thing. And she came up with these concepts for that and a few other things. Well, it was such a bomb. She got fired. A slew of people at Disney got fired because they lost so much money, but Disney used it as a tax write-off. But the funny thing is, I remember going, when the film came out, I was not going to watch it. And when I caught bits and pieces of it on television, I went, this is really good. And when you watch it from beginning to end, it's actually a really great story. It is well done. The effects are terrific.
There's humor in it that works really well.
It's a film that really surprised me.
But Larry, I know that you're right. It wasn't a hit because of the way the marketing was screwed up. But I think since
it was not a hit.
But now I think it's appreciated and realized that it's a good film, I think.
Because
we've talked about this all before.
Because people like me have brought it up, and fans of Monster Party and Larry Strothe, they listen and they go, hey, I got to check out this film.
So is this going to be, have you seen any other movies than the 5 you always bring up? Like, we're going to do John Carter, and we're going to do the creature, a lot of people, Chitty Bang Bang.
No, I have other films that we haven't talked about.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure.
Thank you for embarrassing me in front of our wonderful guest. I'd like to know how COURTNEY JOYNER feels.
Hey, this is the thing. Of course, John Carter predated Tarzan. Yeah. Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote those stories before he created Tarzan. And as I understand it, Disney ended up with the rights to John Carter when they bought the rights to Tarzan to do that first animated film.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made the deal with the Burroughs estate. And my edition of John Carter, and I've got it right behind me, was, have you guys ever seen the Science Fiction Book Club edition, which has the unbelievable Frank Frazetta wraparound cover?
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that.
By Frank Frazetta. They're pen and ink drawings through the whole thing.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's Carter of Mars and Princess of Mars, because I think there's a total of 6 books.
Yeah.
And Frazetta did the illustrations for all of them. And no, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is a really good movie. It has been adapted. Marvel did a comic book series that was very long running. And you're right, Ray Harryhausen. In fact, I think even Willis O'Brien at one point and Marion C. Cooper were talking about this.
Wow.
Because MGM had Tarzan. We're having such great success with it.
Right.
Would this be something that we could do after they had done King Kong? And so, it had been on the burner for so long, and it arrives, and the marketing campaign was wrong. Everything was absolutely just a toe stubber.
Yeah.
They couldn't have handled it worse.
Yeah.
And with a giant investment, they just wiped out everything. And
they might as well have just called it John.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's really too bad. I mean, I hope now that people can appreciate it, but it is true that it's such a head scratcher. Like, didn't Disney realize that they had a good product?
You would think that they would, but I think it falls into that category of people who don't really like or care about the subject matter that they're dealing with. So they don't understand it, so they don't know how to market it.
Right.
We can't put Mars on there. That sounds silly. That sounds spacey and science fiction-y.
Well,
right. And Mission to Mars underperformed.
To tread on anything, where they thought, well, look, Mars means outer space. We now have Star Wars. We can't be, stepping into that territory. And so,
yes, James. What were you saying about Mission to Mars?
Well, yeah, but it's marketing mentality. It's like, okay, Mission to Mars didn't perform well. Maybe Mars Attacks. Anything with Mars in the title. Okay, well, we can't do it because those movies bombed.
How about John Carter on a planet? That would have been better.
Or John Carter in outer space.
Yeah,
the point that I'm trying to make is for this topic, turkeys. It was considered a turkey. And
that is correct.
If you're watching after dinner, you got your hand in your pants and you're watching it, you're going to enjoy it. And
you've got 4 hands in your pants.
No, listen. And I knew COURTNEY was going to bring up some stuff that we didn't know. So
that's true.
Thank you, COURTNEY.
All right. Yes.
And you're a turkey. You don't watch it. Yeah.
You have legally fulfilled this topic. So great.
Cool.
That's
That's
one.
good.
All right, what about you, James?
Okay,
Yeah, come
I'm
on,
gonna
James.
take
Something
us-
that you hate.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take us from John Carter to John Carpenter.
Uh-oh.
Because
okay.
by the 90s,
Wow.
I think we all pretty much figured that his best
Yeah.
years were behind him. He's probably more
Definitely.
interested in composing the soundtracks than actually making movies.
Yeah, or touring, playing his music at concerts.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But 15 years after the first one, he decides to do a sequel to Escape from New York,
Yeah.
Escape from LA with Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken.
And I wanted to like it so much. And there were moments and little bits in it I liked, but as a
You know,
whole,
in theory, Earthquake destroys it. Cuts the San Andreas Fault cuts LA off from the rest of the United States. It's brilliant. It becomes another island. He has to go in.
But it
It's
almost
gotta-
like literally jumps the shark. Like it's it feels like that Happy Days episode.
And you know somehow. Sorry, James, just real quick. Like somehow in the early '80s with Escape from New York, it was a low budget movie, but somehow he worked around it and made it still work on that tiny budget. And like it still to me plays fine, but there's like some early CGI and Escape from LA that is so bad. And like it's probably they had a way bigger budget than the first one, but it looks cheaper.
That James Cameron, wasn't it? Didn't James Cameron do that like a matte shot in there or a bunch of matte shots?
For Escape from New York, absolutely. Cameron did the stuff and everything.
Yeah, and those look better. Like that looks
very
more
cleverly
than the CGI.
Yeah, I know. It's
and it has a good cast. You know.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Peter Fonda, Pam Grier, Cliff Robertson is the president. Steve Buscemi's always great. But once they hit the scene where Bruce Campbell plays this crazy plastic surgeon, it just becomes more. I realized sitting in the theater that this was a mess. It wasn't going to get any better, and I walked out. It was only watching it on cable later that I got to watch the rest of it, and I forgave it more on cable because it's on cable. You're just sitting there, but it's still a big disappointment.
All right,
okay. You know, James, what I would equate Escape from LA with is, and I think this is like the frustration we have with this movie, is it feels cynical.
Yeah,
it's like everybody got paid a fortune. And basically, they're giving a finger to the audience.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, which Lethal Weapon is with Jet Li? Is that number 4?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it absolutely sucked.
Yeah, they just don't care.
I'm sorry. I don't need to see a bunch of, billionaires walking around telling me, boy, are you stupid for paying for this movie.
Yeah. Right. And also the mistake, I think, with Escape from LA is they followed the format and plot of the first one, like exactly. They just replaced it with like LA tropes. Like it's not even, they don't really do anything new. It's like they're rehashing the same thing just in LA now, and like Kurt Russell, I love, and he's fine in that role. I wish they made a good sequel because I would love to have seen a Snake Plissken franchise. I mean, that would have been amazing. I mean, he can still to this day play Snake, I think when I heard that they're finally doing Escape from LA, I was thrilled. I mean, like, great. It's like, yes, but, Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's a big disappointment.
I guess there's no chance of us getting John Carpenter on the show now since we're bagging
because that was going to happen.
We were so close.
He was ready to go.
Yeah. Well, so you really hated it that much, James?
I walked out. Wasn't even halfway through. It was like, just driving home would be more entertaining than watching the rest of this.
I bought an Escape from LA figure, the Movie Maniacs one. Because I wanted a Snake Plissken.
Yeah, you want a good Snake Plissken, right?
Sure.
As soon as they came out with the regular one, NECA did that one from Escape from New York. That one went on the pile. It was just
confess and tell you that I've seen bits and pieces of Escape from LA about 60 times.
Why?
Because I was working in a movie theater in North Carolina while I was nursing my wounds from a divorce.
Oh my
I needed a job. I was the oldest. I was like 20 years older than my boss.
Wow.
And I ended up as one of the projectionists, and we had Escape from LA. So I was there running Escape from LA
Wow.
every single day.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
So, yeah,
Wow, that's tough.
Oh,
Wow,
that was
so,
rough. That was rough. Yeah.
so I guess you won't be watching this after Thanksgiving dinner.
no.
Okay, so I have one, and this film I discovered today, and I
Really?
watched today for the first time.
Wow.
And going through one of like Psychotronic or the Creature Features book,
Right.
I came upon this, and I'd never heard of it, and it's called The Bang Bang Kid.
The Bang Bang Kid.
Bang Bang Kid.
Is that-
I'm wondering if Courtney knows this film because it's 1967. It's a spaghetti western thing. The director is Luciano Sacripanti, and I guess as he's building the movie is Luciano Lelli. Anyway, what this movie is, Tom Bosley.
Oh my God, I've seen this. I
Tom
did see this.
Bosley goes to this Wild West town. They're looking for a sheriff because the town is run by Guy Madison, whose name in the film is Bear Bullock. And he, runs the town like a king. And to hammer that visual in, every once in a while in the movie, people will there'll be like a little flash, and now they're in medieval clothes. Because he's so he's dressed like a king suddenly, and then suddenly the people are dressed like serfs, and a woman is dressed in a medieval dress, and so that's one of the gags in the movie. It is supposed to be a comedy, and Tom Bosley.
Wow.
So they have a bunch of gunslingers come in, and then they get killed by Guy Madison's gunslinger, whose name is Killer Cossack. And so Killer Cossack is a really great gunfighter, and he's able to wipe out all these guys that come in. Well, Tom Bosley comes in, and he's got a robot gunslinger.
Oh my God.
He has this thing in a case, and he opens up the case, and inside it is this robot gunslinger that looks like him.
Wow.
So it's like someone made a mask of Tom Bosley and put it on some guy, and with the same kind of build, and this robotic gunslinger, the first time he demonstrates him, he shoots all these bottles, and then everyone's like, oh my God, this is going to save the town. But of course, as hilarity ensues, the robot is always malfunctioning. So it's back and forth whether Killer Cossack is going to end up going after Tom Bosley and getting rid of the robot. Through most of the movie, it seems like Killer Cossack doesn't realize that this is a robot. But Tom Bosley's name is Meriwether P. Newberry. Nice little nerdy name. So, there's this convoluted story about, why is Bear Bullock, the guy who's, Guy Madison, who's running the town, why is he so mean all of a sudden? He wasn't mean 2 years ago. And you find out that story. And to fit with the medieval theme, he actually brought a castle over from Europe stone by stone and built it. So in the movie, there's this siege of a castle in this Western.
Wow.
It's crazy. And
is it more for kids kind of?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's some kind of sexy stuff in it. There's a sexy Italian girl in a bathtub who ends up, you don't see her nude, but you see a silhouette of her getting out of the bathtub. I mean,
right.
Kids may be different in Italy, but maybe not. I don't know. I would like that.
You sure he didn't accidentally watch like the last season of Happy Days when they got crazy and just did anything?
It could have been that. You might be right, actually. But it's so weird.
Wow.
And yeah, the jokes are pretty lame, but there's one part of it that's kind of funny because in the beginning and at the end, there's a square sounding narrator who has a couple lines. And so in the beginning of the movie, you have these gunslingers who are coming into the town, and Killer Cossack is going to go after him. So there's one guy who they call Six Fingers Sykes. Six Fingers looks like a kind of badass gunslinger, and Killer Cossack just guns him down. And then you hear the narrator say, even if Six Fingers had 8 fingers like the rest of us, it wouldn't have been enough. Weird. And then another guy comes in, and he's all dressed in white, impeccably dressed, and likes to be clean, but he gets killed. And the narrator says, "It's too bad, but the fact is that cleanliness is next to useless in a gunfight." So there's all these
Very salient point. Yes.
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense, really, this narrator. But what I'm telling you is that is the funniest part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a real oddity, like Tom Bosley doing like Italian comedy, like weird.
Now I know this title. Did Sidney Pink write this film?
I think he has something to do with it.
Sidney Pink from Reptilicus and Angry Red Planet and all that?
Absolutely, yes.
Maybe
Wow.
I think he might have been one of the producers.
That's
Wow.
it, yes.
Yeah.
Because I think American International TV, I think, were the ones who distributed this film.
Huh.
And I've never seen it, but it's kind of notorious.
Wow.
I watched it, and I have to tell you, for as lame as the jokes were, and I don't know who this film is for, I was with it really the whole way. It's not something I think I would go back to, but it was so odd that I was mesmerized.
Right.
I feel like I have to see it.
Yeah, me too.
So that's mine.
That's good.
Cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What was the year on that one again? Matt?
This is 1967.
67.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Interesting.
Nice one, Matt.
Yeah.
All right.
Courtney, how about giving us another one?
Well, I'm going to kind of go into some familiar territory for a movie we have all seen like a zillion times,
Okay.
but its reputation jumps around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to really stand up for The Indestructible Man.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
I do like that movie a
I
lot.
do like it too.
If anything,
And-
for like a snapshot of Los Angeles at the time.
Exactly. And I would say for Turkey Day, not just labeling this movie, but Allied artist horror of the 1950s had this incredible seedy kind of quality to it.
Yeah.
House on Haunted Hill is probably the slickest, but when you get into Indestructible Man and The Hypnotic Eye,
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good one.
Hands of a Stranger, and all these films that get slagged. And I've always, of course, because you've got Lon Chaney and everyone compares it to Man-Made Monster, which I think is kind of a silly comparison, but they've always used this film as a forum to get after Chaney because of his drinking at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Here is this movie that was made at the same time that he was doing The Indian Fighter with Kirk Douglas for Andre de Tost, and I Died 1,000 Times at Warner Brothers, which is a fantastic scene between him and Jack Palance, and then back to Stanley Kramer for Not as a Stranger. So all of this, he was too incoherent to memorize dialogue and all this idiocy, which Jack Pollockson, the director, has also said is nonsense, but no
Right.
one seems to want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, because
just
I
as
know. Yeah, because the movie, the premise is that he doesn't really talk much when he becomes his energized monster. But yes, that's probably why people are thinking, oh, they just took away the dialogue because of that. But it's probably just the script was written that way.
That's so odd to me, because when you really look at the vast amount of work that Lon Chaney Jr. did, I can't find too many really bad performances myself. I think he's usually really good in most of it.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's doing his Lon Chaney Jr. thing.
right.
Yeah. And for that particular film, as we said, seeing Los Angeles and Angel's Flight with that
Yes.
fantastic murder
Oh
at
my
the
God.
top of Joe Marcelli and tossing him off the
He
top. and-
throws this little guy in crutches off down the
Yeah.
hole. Yeah, you're right. To the Allied artists, there's like this kind of like almost docu-verite
yes,
feel that those movies had.
Rita Green,
Yeah.
standing there by that car. And,
Yeah. Yes.
and, she lived across the street from Frank Dietz.
Really? Wow.
She did. He didn't know it. And she was married to Doodles Weaver.
Wow. What?
Yes.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
yeah, that she was just spectacular. But it has so much, because it's a cop movie first. It's very influenced by Dragnet and the
Yes.
lineup and things
The
that were done at that
narration,
time.
yeah. Like I was casing the street, and it was a dark night, and it's it's
I
great
know.
though.
And it does. It just has that gritty feel because it isn't a slick film, even though we've got Joe Flynn and Robert Shane reviving him at the beginning. But because it isn't, I think that adds so much to it also as like an independent horror movie of the 1950s.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it has been a punching bag for a long, long time. And you see it on turkey lists and things like that all the time.
Yeah.
I've never understood that.
I think I have a copy of it from Turner Classics because they ran a really nice widescreen print, because I don't think that movie's ever been released well either. It's always on public domain. It's like, that should be a Blu-ray with like nice, find a remastered, because
Yes, and Monster Party could do the commentary.
yes.
There you go. Yes. Well, there was a cheap outfit. It was released so many times, but they were bringing out a bunch of movies, bunch of public domain stuff, and Tony Curtis was doing the intros to them, and that's was their gag.
Wow.
And I bought the version of Indestructible Man because I'm like, well, my God, Tony, you were with Lon Chaney in the Defiant one, so let's hear what you have to say. Of course, he said nothing.
Right.
The Indestructible Man.
But that's a good one. That's kind of like a good standby. That's always, I find myself watching. I mean, I've seen it many, many times, and I still enjoy it.
I always love watching him. I do.
Yeah.
I
really do.
think
You're
he's
right.
good. I think when he's playing, a very serious character like Lawrence Talbot, he's amazing. When he does comedy, he's genuinely funny.
But even like his later years in serious roles, like in Spider Baby or Witchcraft,
Okay, whoa, back up. Serious roles like Spider Baby.
His role in that movie, though, he plays it straight.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
If you remember that movie, he's the one who's like trying to control these crazy murderous siblings.
I'll give you that.
He plays it straight. And same with Witchcraft too.
Well, Witchcraft, I think, is wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is 1956, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Nice one, Courtney.
Yeah.
Okay, Shawn Sheridan.
All right, total change of a course here.
I've got my glass of wine.
Remember in the 70s.
Don't tell him how to celebrate Thanksgiving. What are you eating?
You remember you remember in the late 70s, there's this movie that America put out called Superman. Remember that?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Great film.
That was a great movie, right?
Great movie.
Yeah, but do you remember Supersonic Man?
What?
This Supersonic Man was made in 1979 from Spain. And this was a kind of super cheap, cheesy cash-in on Superman, and kind of a little bit of Close Encounters thrown in there, and superheroes and sci-fi. It's ridiculous. It was directed by Juan Piquer Simon, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, yeah.
This is the infamous director who made Pieces and Slugs.
Oh, okay.
And a bunch of crazy exploitation movies. And Supersonic Man is a ripoff of Superman. And there's this guy named Supersonic. He's like an alien.
Okay, wait a minute. His name is Supersonic.
Well, they call him, it starts in a spaceship, and he's like laying on a slab, and he's wearing a very unflattering tights. And like the gods or the people in the ship are like, Supersonic, come to life. And he comes to life because he has to save the Earth. And,
why are his tights unflattering?
Because they are.
But like, are they
too cheap Italian ripoff of Superman?
But are they too tight?
Yeah, they're gaudy and silvery.
Is he overweight a little bit? Or?
No, he's pretty built, but it's just it's not a good look.
But he's no Valerie Leon. Let's put it that way.
No. He wears like a half mask, and his cape, and he has to save the world because Cameron Mitchell is trying to take over the world.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah. So,
man, when will he stop trying to do that?
I know. Cameron Mitchell, of course, he's dubbed by a completely different voice.
By Cameron Mitchell?
Movie. Yeah.
But
Cameron Mitchell is dubbed by somebody else. and he's like your typical supervillain trying to take over the world. And Supersonic Man, he is the whole Clark Kent thing. He's like the suave 70s looking mustache guy.
Okay, so wait a minute. So his alter ego is a suave guy.
Yes.
As opposed to the nerdy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's different.
And he saves a damsel in distress. Cameron Mitchell sends a really cheesy, clunky robot after Supersonic. There's a scene where Supersonic has to like move a steamroller out of the way from an oncoming car or something. And it's literally like a life-size cardboard steamroller that he's lifting up. It's hilarious. But that doesn't stop there. His powers also include, at one point, there's these thugs pointing guns at him. He like waves his hand or shoots a ray or something, and the gun becomes a banana.
Oh,
wow.
I'm not kidding.
Matter manipulation.
This is what the kind of movie is like. It's got super cheesy music, but it's fun.
Why not change the steamroller into a banana?
Yeah, really.
True. It's super cheesy. It will be a good double feature with another movie I recommended on the first Chicory shoot, which was Puma Man,
Oh yeah.
or as Donald Pleasance would call it, Puma Man. So anyway, Puma Man and Supersonic Man, both like from the 70s, really, really bad, but really fun. Good turn off your brain and just enjoy the cheesiness kind of movie.
It sounds fun.
When you said robot, I was
It's like your
all right, here we go.
Yeah, it's got the big kind of square robot. It shoots a flamethrower at him, and it's great. I mean,
Perfect.
Yeah, it's
right.
got everything. It's got everything.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna watch that, and I'm just whatever cranberry sauce is left, I'm just gonna just ladle
that'd be
that.
perfect. Just ladle it on. Perfect.
Sean,
Okay.
that sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
Now we all
All right,
know,
Slick, give us something.
Okay, now we all know how fun Mystery Science Theater can be, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, a great recommendation from Monster Party's unpaid intern, Kevin Smith. He suggested something to me that I should watch. This was like years ago. And we watched it and we laughed so hard. And it was within the confines of Mystery Science Theater 3000. We watched from 1959, The Prince of Space.
Oh,
And
Of course.
now,
Classic.
it's what's so great. I guess there's like these 3 orphan kids who kind of get this guy who kind of helps them, live and has them all shiny shoes and stuff. But little do they know that he's actually the Prince of Space, this kind of superhero.
Sure he is.
He's impervious to anything and everything.
That's what they all say.
Okay.
Come in my spaceship.
Okay. Well, these vicious aliens that kind of look and sound like chickens come to kind of take over the earth. And what the Mystery Science Theater people do, it's some of it is subtle, but it just makes you laugh. How, when the villains say there's certain lines, we're going to get you, and then they may sound like
it's Crankcore, right?
Yes, Crankcore.
is the bad guy.
And my understanding is there was a TV show in Japan at that time that was based on the Prince of Space. And
wasn't it like a compilation of episodes or something,
yes.
right?
So I
kind of like
believe
the Starman, same thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
this hour and a half film was condensed.
Right.
But
Thank God.
it's loads of fun. It's black and white. It is cheap. It is cheesy. The outer space stuff is not
Genius.
realistic. It's
Genius.
What I love about that is the nonstop fighting. Like they just keep coming at him. He just stands there posing and
yes, and just
like
ha ha ha. And the funny thing is these alien
He loves
beings,
what he does.
They shoot laser beams or guns, whatever, and it's like he stands and laughs. Ha ha ha! It's like he's impervious to everything.
And talk about unflattering tights.
Yes, the characters.
It was a different time.
Yes. It was, but
All he had to do is he had to be slightly in better shape than another guy.
So the version, for people who are interested in seeing it again, it's like after Thanksgiving dinner, the pants have come off or something, and you've got that wine.
You're up and down with your pants.
Okay, I'm just saying you want to laugh at something, you want to have something it's sci-fi and it's fun, classic, but
That's great. That's a great
irreverent. It's the Mystery Science Theater 3000 season 9 episode 16. Loads of fun. Highly recommend it as a Thanksgiving turkey.
But it's also one that I would say just watch the movie and do your
Yeah.
own. Because
Sure.
the movie, I think, holds up on its own.
Yeah.
The jokes, if they're not provided for you, they can often write themselves.
Right. Exactly.
That's a good one.
Right.
James?
Okay, well, another filmmaker who was pretty big in the 80s, maybe not so much in the 90s, was Joe Dante, who, with Gremlins, certainly the low budget films he made up until then were terrific. And then, Gremlins brought him out as a household name. And I enjoyed Gremlins. It doesn't really hold up that well. And the sequel is just a joke. But then the films that he made after that were pretty much just jokes and excuses to put in a bunch of cameos. Finally, I went and saw in a theater in 1998, Small Soldiers. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen this movie, but it kind of replicates the premise of Gremlins because you've got this guy who, instead of these little animals, he picks up these toys, these action figures. And what he doesn't realize is that these figures are actually a part of, I don't remember it that well, but a part of some strategic war initiative where they are actually imbued with human characteristics to fight wars. And one of them is voiced by Tommy Lee Jones, another one's voiced by Frank Langella. And I gotta say, about 20 minutes into it, maybe half an hour, I was just like, this is not working at all. This does not have the kind of a setup that Gremlins had, which was a fairly, careful setup. And it would there was nothing. It was a big nothing burger. And I think it was, if Dante's career hadn't jumped the shark by then, that was the moment.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I don't know if I've ever seen the whole thing. I think it was on cable a long time ago. And like, I vaguely have memories of it, but I don't know.
There's just so nothing to it. Courtney, have you seen it? Have you seen this?
Oh, yes. And because Adam Rifkin wrote Small Soldiers. And that was, kind of his big, studio sale after Dark Backward and whatever. And that did that wonderful movie with Burt Reynolds, which was his last film. And basically where Reynolds does play himself. It's an amazingly honest. I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's just incredible. Where Burt Reynolds gets invited to a film festival, and he terrorizes the kids who run the festival, and then just basically has to come to grips with what a crud he's been his entire life. And it's amazing that he got Burt Reynolds to say all this dialogue.
Wow.
And but Rifkin. He's been like an indie guy for such a long time, but yes, Small Soldiers was his big spec sale.
Wow. Well, a premise like that, you would think, and I liked Joe Dante. I want to like Joe Dante's movies. I like the cameos. He always used Jerry Goldsmith. His movies were fun, but there was just, even with that premise, just nothing. It was flatlined.
Yeah, and I do think, like, you're right, James, in that so many of his later movies, though, are just like jokes and wink, wink. Like you said, like Gremlins 2 is just unwatchable to me.
Yeah.
But even like things like Explorers and Space Jam, like those are just kind of such disposable, like, I don't know. They do nothing for me, It's like they're just these kind of pop culture, populist balls of fluff that just aren't necessary. I don't know.
That's why he wasn't directing features after that.
Well, I guess we won't be getting Joe Dante on our show then.
Oh no, he loves us.
Bragging on him.
Tell like it is.
Small Soldiers, that was like a moderate success, right?
Was it?
I don't know.
I think so. I don't think it was a giant blockbuster, but I think it did okay, right? No?
I think it did do okay. Yeah.
I think the toys kind of sat at Toys R Us for a while. I'm not sure.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Well, I can see why it was greenlit. It was kind of before Toy Story.
Hey, man.
It's like the idea of toys.
Yeah.
You can sell the toys, and the toys are the stars of the movies. I mean,
You can judge a successful movie by the successful toys. Except for Avatar, those toys didn't sell because they were crummy toys.
It's a crummy movie too.
Yeah, but when all those
it made a lot of money
finally come out,
so what?
Yeah, what does that mean? Just because a movie made money, it's good?
Well, I like to
answer the
watch
question.
I thought it was good.
Can something make a lot of money and be
really, Larry? So, like after a good Thanksgiving dinner, I'm gonna sit down and watch Avatar, man.
Would you?
Would anybody do that?
Yeah. Would you?
No, no.
Yes, of course.
No, you wouldn't. You know you wouldn't.
Look, there was a.
You'll watch Beast in 20,000 Fathoms again. You're not gonna watch fucking Avatar.
Yes. You'll watch the Beast from Yucca Flats.
That's bullshit.
There was a ton of hype. We all saw Avatar. There was a ton of hype. There was the one movie everybody had to see. But here's the question: is everybody going to go see it, the sequel, in a theater?
No.
Hell no.
Well, look,
staying away in droves.
It depends on what the situation is,
What situation? If it wins a bunch of Academy Awards, you'll go see it, right, Larry?
It's the end of days.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's only one movie playing in town.
Let's say about a year.
They're offering free soup.
No, let's say about a year. If they say to you, Avatar 2 is coming out, and they have this new glasses free 3D, and things actually pop out of the screen, and you don't have to wear glasses or something, and you'll see lasers shooting or something out in the audience. Or doesn't that sound like something you'd want to see?
Not necessarily.
Not if it's Avatar.
Not if it's a 3-hour movie written by James Cameron. No.
Yeah, that'd be rough. That'd be tough.
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
I guess we won't be getting James Cameron on our show.
No.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
no,
just
they
gonna
were all
call him.
lined up too.
Yeah.
If we can't get them now, then
Yeah.
I think we lost Adam Rifkin too. So we're dropping like dominoes right now.
They're just
all
falling
the
like
greats.
flies.
You know,
wow.
I don't want this to be a blitz bag on filmmakers.
It's
Simon.
turkeys,
I mean,
though.
no,
And
Hey,
look,
filmmakers
all-
make turkeys.
yes, and all of those directors have made great movies,
And
that
I
we
think they'll be
love.
okay.
Sure.
I think they're going to do okay.
Yeah.
You know?
all right. Well,
Yeah.
that was. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Larry. All right, I got
Okay.
one.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait, so we're not going in order?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Matt
you
is
said
next.
James.
Isn't it me next? No.
Yes.
Yeah. I just went. Matt is next.
Yeah. We're skipping Larry from now on. We're just doing the
Did we
other
skip
four of
Larry?
us. No, I say we're going to skip Larry from now on. We're just gonna do the
okay.
other four
But it
of
is
us.
my turn, right?
Yes.
Go
You
ahead.
know, I've been drinking, Matt. Go ahead.
No, I thought you were just like gaslighting me, just fucking with my head.
I don't
You
gaslight
already
you.
went. What?
No, I don't gaslight you. That's where does that go? That's Jason Lindsay that started it. That's what it is. That bastard, Mr. Biff Bang.
He's always gaslighting me.
He's all that Larry's gaslighting Matt. Well, that's not the case.
Some mornings I'll just wake up next to him and he'll just turn to me and go, we're married. What? Yeah.
All right, go.
Okay.
Go.
I got one from 1975. I've heard about this. I tried to watch it today. I couldn't find it, but I found some scenes, and I think the scenes were enough. And I really didn't know that this was for real, but it is. And it's a movie called Deathula.
Oh, wow, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And
familiar
this
with
is a film in 1975. They wanted to make a movie that was done completely in American Sign Language.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. And there is a voiceover for people who don't understand sign language. And
Right.
the voiceover is not so great, but it is done entirely with sign language. So the story is there's this theology student who suspects that he may be a vampire after all these vampire murders happen in this town. And as the story progresses, you find out that what happens to him is he turns into a vampire, but when he turns into a vampire, he turns into like a Dracula vampire, like a guy in a Dracula costume.
Right.
So he just looks like a regular blonde-haired kind of hippie-ish dude. And then boom, he's like wearing the tux and
Wow.
and he's got a big fake nose. And it's just
Is it
and
done? Is it done intentionally silly? And I mean, it's a comedy, or
don't think so. There's a scene where the scene that I saw, he's turned into the vampire. He's turned into Deathula. And there's like a motorcycle guy and his girlfriend, and he doesn't like them because, I only saw the scene, so I don't know what necessarily led up to this, but so he doesn't like them. So he gets them to get on the motorcycle and then drive the motorcycle to the edge of a cliff and drive off it. But the time it takes for him to he's like, okay, tie yourself to the motorcycle. Okay, now drive. And then they're driving and there's it's for deaf people. There's no music. And but it's just, by the time the motorcycle gets to the edge of the cliff, I'm like, fuck, I want to kill myself. How could anyone get through this movie? How could even deaf people get through this?
wow.
It was amazing. And then I saw another clip, and I guess it turns out that his father is Dracula. So his mom was bitten by Dracula when she was pregnant.
Right.
So he ends up meeting Dracula, and Dracula looks like a slightly better costume than the one he's wearing. There's no big nose, but it still looks like, Spirit Halloween store Dracula costume.
Right. That's hilarious.
But this was a movie that was released.
Wow.
They
But is it
made
like,
this.
in the context of the movie, is it like, do they explain why everybody's doing sign language, or is just the way that they just take it for granted? And this is just in this movie.
From my research and what I can tell, they don't. It's
Right,
kind of like, I thought it might be an interesting double feature with Incubus, You know,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Leslie
Esperanto.
Stevens,
Esperanto.
the Esperanto one.
Right. Okay.
Because in that one, it's just everyone speaking Esperanto, and that's just
Right.
the way it
Right.
is.
Right. Wow. That's
But
crazy.
it was to see them do their sign language scenes was
Right.
a fascinating experiment.
Right. Right.
But it really doesn't work. If it had just a better filmmaker, like at least with Incubus, I actually enjoy Incubus.
Me too.
I think it's a really good movie, and you have cinematography by Conrad Hall.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to look at, and it's creepy. This is not so creepy. This is just there.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched one scene and I thought, wow, if there are more like this, how did anyone?
That's crazy.
And I could just see deaf people going, wow, the one movie for us, and it's this.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's interesting.
Oh, nice
Well, there
one,
is
man.
an innovation for deaf people in cinema, and it's called subtitles.
Subtitles,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I
But I
don't want to
wonder.
offend any deaf people who might be listening, but
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Man. Okay.
That's interesting though. That's
Yeah,
definitely
no, that was
an oddity.
quite an oddity. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, Courtney,
I don't know what course of the Thanksgiving meal this would be
Yeah.
for. But
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, Courtney, you got an oddity for us? Got another one?
Well, I've got kind of a thematic double feature.
Okay.
Cool.
2 movies with posters I really admired, which were just crushing disappointment. And I saw them both in the theater, or actually at the drive-in. The first, and I believe the poster art was by Gray Morrow, Werewolves on Wheels.
I almost chose that.
One of the
Yeah.
great titles of all time.
I agree.
This
Yes.
movie is so crushingly boring.
Yeah, the werewolves don't show up until like last
They
10
don't
minutes
show
of the
up, they're
movie.
not
Yeah.
even-
It's a boring biker movie for the most
It is
part.
a boring biker movie with werewolves in it. It's
Yeah.
like, how the hell did you manage this?
Well, actually, I think it's the beginning's good because you got Severin Darden as a Satanist, and then you have
Yeah.
the werewolves at the very end. But all the whole entire middle is like, what is this?
And they have all the documentary footage of the Hells Angels and Sturgis and all this. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
I just so disappointed. And the second, and I know now I'm kind of treading on holy toes because he has had a resurgence, but I'm sorry, Horror of the Blood Monsters is
Oh,
junk.
yeah. Al
And-
Adamson.
Al Adamson, fantastic poster by Neil Adams.
Yeah.
And David Hewitt, who has been responsible for tons of great. In fact, he used to do special effects for Empire Pictures, and of course, but he as a director, Dr. Terror's Gallery of Horrors, and Journey to the Center of
All
Time.
those.
David was responsible for the colorized sequences from the Filipino horror movie
Right.
that they cut into this stuff with John Carradine and Richard, and they're on this spaceship and
Right.
they can't land.
And it's supposed to be
because
like SpectraVision or something. It's supposed to be
Spectravision X,
the
yes. And
atmosphere
it's
is changing, so it's always changing colors.
right, and you have the lobster men and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just like it is. I mean, look, forget Thanksgiving dinner. If you just go to a 1968 acid party,
Yes.
watch
your own
these
turkey.
2 movies,
Yeah.
then you've got it. But other than that kind of an extreme hallucinogenic ingestion,
Yeah.
forget it. Yeah.
Hey,
Is this the movie where, because I remember seeing this a number of times as a kid, and just let me know if this is the same movie.
Under different titles each time, probably.
Yes, yeah, it's about
Yeah.
17
Is
titles.
this the one where in the very beginning there's like a narrator saying the plague of vampirism that's
Yes.
That's it.
havoc across the, and there's a bunch of these really amateurish vampire attacks.
Yeah,
but
including
as a little-
yeah.
As a little kid, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Right.
Like the minute they got to the planet, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
That stuff with Al Adamson playing one of the vampires,
Yeah,
and my
he's the
old
vampire.
friend Gus Peters is one of the, and they shot that stuff over on Western Avenue or something, and to kind of help do a intro, I believe, in yet another release of the movie because they then called it something else.
Right.
And so they had to add, in classic Sam Sherman, Al Adamson style, another, intro or another little piece of footage there. But yeah, that one.
Talk about a slapdash hodgepodge. The best thing actually about that movie is the trailer narrated by Brother Theodore.
Oh, absolutely.
He's like, can you stand the horror of the blood monster?
The horror.
It's great.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And that was on a double feature with another Filipino movie, right? And
probably, yeah. Like
yes, one of the I think one of,
or something.
Yeah, one of the Blood Drinkers. Yeah, but I think was Eddie Romero.
Yeah. And that's
good stuff.
That's a good one.
What if Werewolves on Wheels, isn't it time to do a remake of it and to spice it up a little bit?
Sure.
I'd love it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's this about acid parties that you go to?
No, I don't attend, not anymore. That was a few decades ago. But I would, if one were to indulge in, say, Horror of the Blood Monsters or Werewolves on Wheels, I would suggest getting into a Wayback Machine.
Yes.
And following that path.
I like that.
Well, thank you for straightening us out, Courtney.
Yes.
Sean, it's in your corner.
Okay, this one is definitely a turkey, but it's a hilarious watch. Matt, I think you've seen this one. This is from 1984, Italian film directed by Bruno Mattei, so you know what you're getting into. This would be Rats, Night of Terror. This is kind of like a post-apocalyptic, slightly Mad Max-inspired end-of-the-world movie where you have this biker gang who are survivors of a post-apocalyptic world, and they're battling hordes of flesh-eating rats. They kind of get trapped in a laboratory building or something, and there's these rats going after them. And it's hilarious. Most of it's dubbed. The acting is really bad and really over the top and amateurish. The rats are never that scary or menacing.
Are they real rats?
They are real rats, but occasionally there's puppet rats, and there's one scene where it's supposed to be a horde of rats moving in a floor, and it's just a conveyor belt with immobile little fur things. There's like rubber rats coming out of bodies and stuff, but it's really bad. Like ridiculous cartoonish characters. Like one guy's like a computer nerd named Video. The one African American kick-ass woman in it is named Chocolate. Just to give you an idea.
Oh, no.
And it's really ridiculous, but it is really fun. It's just so over the top and stupid, but it has an ending that I won't spoil, but the ending is it's ridiculous, but kind of cool and not what you expect. I won't say anything beyond that, but it's the very ending of the movie is kind of what? But it's fun though. It's very gory, but like super cheesy gory, and lots of people flailing around screaming as real rats being thrown at them from off camera. You kind of feel bad for the rats a couple times.
Always,
This is Italian filmmaking in the 80s, so
Right, yeah.
That's like a good dessert viewing after Thanksgiving.
The rat one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I can see that. Nice one, Sean.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay. All right. Well, Courtney had mentioned something about, when you see a really cool poster and you get sucked in because you think the poster's really cool, and you go into the movie and you're like, oh man, This is a turkey. But it still has some redeeming qualities in it. And so there's a film that I would say would also make a nice dessert film, and that is from 1957, The Invisible Boy. The Invisible Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, The Invisible Boy brings Robbie the Robot back to the screen with,
as a star, really.
Yeah, well, he's not really the star.
I mean, he's promoted as pretty big in the promotion for the movie.
Exactly. But Richard Ayer, who is the little boy, here's the funny thing: the film is called The Invisible Boy, and so you think it's going to be about invisibility and stuff. It really should have been called The Boy Who Destroys the Ultimate Evil Computer or something like that.
That's a great title.
Well, thank you. but it's like Invisible Boy. That's a portion of it, and there's a couple of things about this. So this world, this little boy has these parents or this dad who's like a brilliant genius, but the little boy is a brilliant genius too.
Right.
And so the dad, he goes to work and he's surrounded by geniuses, and he creates this great ultimate computer. And the thing I haven't been able to figure out is the computer. It's very typical, big 1950s computer, like with all these little diodes and lights and stuff. And I'm not really sure if it's the same computer that was used for Desk Set with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn.
Really?
And it's like, hey, we got this big giant computer problem. What do we do? Hey, let's make this
Yeah, why not?
And so this little boy, because he's so brilliant and he's trying to impress his dad, because his dad is too busy to deal with him and even acknowledge how smart his kid is, he builds this Robbie the robot, which is really impressive. And I think any parent would be, oh my God, this is great. But because his dad is too busy with this computer, the little boy and Robbie go out and get into some mischief. They go into he gets into this, yes, I know, this giant kite. And then of course he makes the invisibility thing. And that pisses off the parents, and they actually spank him. They spank him in the movie. And Richard Eyre, this is like a year before.
You're not allowed to have any more robots.
Exactly. But this was a year before he went on to play the genie in The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. But the thing that I don't like about it is, you see this poster where you see the robot and all these missiles and explosions, and it looks like he's terrified. And that's not in the movie.
Let's make that movie.
Yeah, let's make the movie.
It's kind of a pretty mundane little movie, really.
Well, here's the thing, Sean. It's neat for kids. Because Richard Eyre, he's a great kid. He's got that great little voice, and he is the main character, and he does a lot of stuff in the film.
And it has Robbie in it, so
it does have Robbie, even though Robbie, I mean, he doesn't do a lot of stuff in it. But there's this great sequence when Robbie and the ultimate computer, the ultimate computer takes over Robbie, and he says, kill the little boy, kind of a thing. And Robbie's all, I can't do this, and it's a little silly, it's a little far fetched, and I wish what you saw in the poster is what you saw in the movie. However, if you've had turkey dinner and you're having your dessert and you got maybe a couple kids around,
a couple kids,
it'd be a nice one to watch.
Although I have to say, I've never been a giant fan of kids as main protagonists in movies. I don't really want to know your story, kid.
What's wrong with? Wait, whoa.
I don't.
Remember, no. Don't you remember when you were a kid? When you were that rascal that
I didn't like trouble? Kids in movies. I wanted to be the adult. I wanted to go hang. Who do you want to hang out with? The little kid or Tarzan or
Right.
See, you're
really even Invaders from Mars.
Yeah, there are exceptions.
There are exceptions because that is I would say that's an exception because one, I really like that kid.
But also the kid's terrified in that
movie. Right. It's also his nightmare.
Yes.
Whereas the kid in the Invisible Boy is not really that scary.
Like, oh, shucks.
Although there is a moment where I'm sure if your kids are watching and they're going to look, when the kid gets spanked, they're going to go, because look, it was a common thing in the 50s. Spanking. Everyone hit their kids, not so much now.
You know what, Larry? It's weird because when I think of Invisible Boy, to me, a kind of better version of that movie, I mean, it's a different movie, but it has elements that are similar. That would be Tobor.
I think,
because Tobor has a cool robot and a kid in it too, who kind of goes on misadventures with the kid. There's spies and it has a big computer. Fun, that's similar in some way, but a better movie, I think.
But I'm saying the poster, if you look at from 1957, and the director, it's Herman Hoffman. He, the funny thing is, he went on to do a lot of TV stuff. He did like Sea Hunt, Doctors and Nurses, Rawhide, Bonanza, Flipper. I mean, one of these guys who did, some cheesy films and then just did a bunch of television.
Right.
But still, hey, not a bad little turkey.
Like I said, I've had a lot of kids around.
I don't hate that movie.
Yeah, I don't hate it either.
Courtney, what did you think?
Well, no, because I actually saw that. You remember when MGM did the MGM Kitty Matinee series?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw that movie in the theater with the Time Machine.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, when I was, I don't know, probably about 13 or something. And I remember, aren't they, I haven't seen the movie since, but isn't he on like a giant kite at one point?
Yes. And mom gets upset at him. Yeah.
The kid is. All right.
He's kind of like, Danny Dunn and the Homework Machine. It's kind of falls into that category,
Yeah. It's like everything the kid makes is just brilliant. And like, oh my God. And his parents are like, they all get all upset. It was like, oh man. But there's this weird sequence when the dad says to the little boy towards the end, when the computer's like taking over his dad, look at the lights, look at the pretty lights. Do you remember that? That was a little weird. But anyway, there you go.
Hey, look, if you want to stop your kid from terrorizing people with this robot, cut off his funding.
Right.
Nice one,
That's
Matt.
good.
James.
Okay, I will admit I might be in the minority here, but when Joel Schumacher took over the Batman series, I actually kind of enjoyed Batman Forever. I thought Val Kilmer was okay as Batman.
All right. I'm done.
No.
Wait, remind
Let
me.
him talk.
Wait, James, remind me because they all mixed together with me. Is that the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler?
Yes. And yes, there were a lot of watching it now. It's harder to watch, but back when I saw it then, I gave it a pass because it's like, all right, they're getting back to sort of the colorful '60s kind of campy. Well, then
Because that's a great idea.
Well, I learned subsequently because I went to see in 1997 Batman and Robin with George Clooney.
Yeah.
And if anybody's seen it, the movie pretty much starts where Batman and Robin are up in some helicopter or some flying like some airplane or something, and then they, from what I recall, they jump out of the airplane on surfboards or boogie board, and they kind of cascade down to earth. And it's not the same as rappelling from like a skyscraper. They're basically flying. And I'm just like, wait a second, it's right off the boat in the first 3 minutes of this movie. And absolutely, the laws of gravity are defied. Absolutely anything can happen. And at that point, I was already out the door. And I walked out. Okay. Another one I walked out on maybe after 20 minutes.
Just to argue a point here, wouldn't you say that there are similar scenes like that in some Bond movies that we enjoy?
Well,
yeah, I mean, to a point when you talk about invisible cars and I mean,
Die Another Day went a little off the rails.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
Or Spy Who Loved Me.
With the underwater car?
Moonraker.
No, isn't there's, remind me if this is the movie. Isn't there a thing where he jumps out of a plane and he lands on skis or something on the mountain?
That's
which one's that one?
No, that's the Spy Who Loved Me. That's the opening of Spy Who Loved Me.
Spy Who Loved Me, right?
Yes. Any of a parachute?
Which, by the way, though, Matt, here's the difference. They actually did that.
Yeah, that was great.
So, sorry.
Back.
Totally, yeah.
And the parachute
they
opens.
really did that?
The parachute
They
opens.
did that. It's the British flag. And then,
I take it all back.
No, but in View to a Kill, he skis like on one ski on one leg down a mountain.
Yeah,
but even that. No, you're right. You're right, James. That's ridiculous.
No,
someone could do that at least for a while on one foot.
Yeah,
but View to a Kill is the Batman and Robin of Bond movies.
Okay, all right.
In some ways,
I would go with that. But come on, guys, we've got to get to the erect nipples problem. And
sure,
there's that,
right?
And that was introduced in Batman Forever.
Yes,
but
that's right.
It's just, and I thought George Clooney could have been a cool Bruce Wayne and a great Batman. But this was just from the outset. The only thing that I kind of appreciated was, Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze referencing the Snow Miser song, and trying to get all his minions to learn it. That was cute, but that was
like
15 seconds.
Throwaway gag. Yeah. The thing is, when you really look at it, when you really look back, I mean, since the serials to the 60s TV show to now, I mean, it's really inconsistent and up and down with how they've treated that character of Batman. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I mean, he's like, for such an iconic, kind of pretty simple, straightforward, great superhero character, they've been in some shitty movies with it. I mean, like, even like the ones that are pretty good, they're like, it's okay. Like everything's like, they're just all over the place. And I still want to see the perfect Batman movie.
Batman and Robin, though, is kind of universally known as one of the worst movies ever made.
It's god awful. It's just,
to the point.
I don't know. Yeah.
To the point where they even made fun of Joel Schumacher in the animated series.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah. And and that was a debacle. And it's just,
but I don't know. I think that, of course, with Christopher Nolan going for the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil approach and Ra's al Ghul and all that, I just thought that was tremendous. But that was the Batman in the comic books I grew up with.
Right.
I was post Bob Kane and Bill Finger and everything. And so I thought, wow, that was wonderful. And we got rid of Robin, thank God. And it was, and I just thought it was absolutely tremendous. But Matt, with just mentioning some of the animated things, my God, Gotham by Gaslight and Under the Red Hood. I think they've just done some wonderful
it's like an animation
things for the
world. That's where
in the animation. Yeah.
Yeah.
James and I are big fans of, like, we watch almost every one of those. You've watched, right, James? Like
The
almost every
DC.
one of the DC animated things that have come out. I mean, they're usually very consistent.
Really?
in being
Okay.
true
I've seen
to-
some, but not a lot.
Yeah. But you go back to that original, especially that first 3 seasons of the animated series.
Yes.
You can't
That's
get.
true.
I think that's the best Batman that's ever been done.
You're right. It's so consistent and so well done. And like, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think people maybe forget about that series. That was a great series.
And of course, that was how Mask of the Phantasm was born.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was terrific, I thought.
Yeah.
Best Batman
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So, James, are you saying that if you were to watch that, you had to have like several glasses of wine and you're with a bunch of people, or?
I don't know if I could even if I were stoned to the gills, I don't know if I could put that one on.
What if
Right,
you were at
right.
one of Courtney's acid parties? What about that?
Maybe.
1968 acid party.
The last
Still might,
thing.
be, still might be a bad trip. I don't know.
The last. So I've been eating all night, and I had
Right,
multiple helpings of turkey,
Right.
and stuffing, and mashed potatoes, and candied yams, and I'm already full. But then they bring out the pie and the pumpkin pie, and it's my mom made it, and it's oh, you have to have some, and like okay, and then I'm starting to feel groggy, so I have some coffee too, which is a little acidic, and then I've already been drinking, and I just do, and it's like Mr. Creosote. I get that last piece of pie,
Mhm.
and I just run to the bathroom, and all I can hear through the door is Batman and Robin. So yeah.
Yeah. That's it's a magical Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, Matt, that's horrible.
All right,
That
that's
is
good.
horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Come on.
Well, I'm sure you have a turkey to give us that
Here's-
might be worth watching.
Here's one that I would say is not the case.
Okay.
I watched it, and I watched it because I watched another film with a similar theme, and I thought this one might be interesting. But you get through this movie and you go, what was the point? And this movie is called The Incredible Petrified World.
Oh my God. It's
Oh
on my
my
list.
God.
It's on my list.
Oh my God, that's
really is.
amazing. Wow,
Yes,
that's amazing,
it is.
Sean. 1959, directed by Jerry Warren, John Carradine, Robert Clark, who I normally love.
Yeah. Phyllis Coates, who was
Phyllis
Lois
Coates,
Lane.
yes, yeah. And the premise is they're all going to go down in a diving bell
Right.
to get as deep as man has ever gotten.
Right.
And while they're down there, there's a disaster that happens and they're lost. But then the diving bell finds this place where it's like a cave system underwater.
Yeah. Underwater caverns.
An
Yeah.
underwater cavern system. And so they're able to get out of their diving bell and swim out to where the cavern is. They surface inside the cavern, and they're going to try to at least survive, maybe go through the cavern and find their way out back to
Right.
civilization.
Right.
But the problem with this movie is that you get into the cavern and you're thinking, what is waiting for them?
Yeah. Monsters.
Monsters.
Giant spiders.
Yeah, a giant
something,
spider,
Something cool.
Yeah, a sloth crab,
Yeah.
or who knows what is waiting in this underground realm.
Yeah, which was a real cave too. It was like a
Yes,
really
yeah.
they filmed a colossal cave in Tucson, Arizona. I looked it up.
And it looks lovely. I will
Yeah.
I will give it that.
Yeah.
But the enemy that they meet is each other. It's an hour and a half of everybody arguing amongst themselves.
Bickering couples.
Yeah. And after a while, you go, I just want to get away from all of you. Nothing is going to happen. And then this old man shows up.
Yeah, in like Halloween costume, tattered clothing.
Yeah, right. Like out of Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
And you're led to believe that he killed somebody before him. That was
Yeah, it was like a
with him.
previous expedition or something. Yeah.
But and then at first he's a little bit of their savior, but then he starts to get creepy.
Yeah, he just like hangs around, creeps out the women.
But that's the thing, is that he's not even a good villain. Like
I know,
he just
I know.
hangs around and gets gradually more icky.
Yeah.
And then a volcano explodes, and then they have to figure out how to get out of there.
Yeah.
And look, don't see this movie. Eventually they get out, and so yay. And but it's just, it goes on, and it really is mostly them just arguing amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Terrible. And it was funny because I read some of the reviews of it at the time, and there's somebody who says the film is so uneventful that it's puzzling as to why it was ever made. It has no possible reason for existence. There is at least one zombie in Teenage Zombies.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's nothing incredible about the movie.
And that was the other thing too. I was thinking, petrified world. Maybe there are petrified people,
like frozen.
Yeah, they're like
stone people that come to life,
like the stone people from Flash Gordon.
Yeah, Courtney, you've seen this one, right?
It's the incredible petrified audience, and and it was released on the double bill with Teenage Zombies, which was also Jerry Warren.
Right.
I mean, he was a incredibly lousy filmmaker.
Yeah,
he was not a good guy. If you've ever read the interview with Brianne Murphy, who was his wife at the time and became one of the very first full-fledged women in the ASC and a huge director of photography and television. She used to shoot Columbo, did much better than her husband. I mean, she just really, probably without meaning to, just tells awful tales of Jerry Warren, including how he would go from town to town and create phony charity drives for dead police officers.
Oh, no.
What? And then take the money and scoot.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a bad guy. And you mentioned Bruno Vasoda earlier, and Bruno was in a lot of what Jerry would do is he would shoot footage, for Mexican horror
Catherine
films.
Victor was in a lot of his stuff.
Exactly. Curse of the Stone Hand and that stuff. Yeah. And Warren used to lie his ass off about Face of the Screaming Werewolf, claiming he had shot all this additional footage of Lon Chaney as the werewolf, none of which is true.
Right, because it was all the original.
It's all the original stuff from the comedy, from the Castle of Terror. Yeah. So this was, and Petrified World may be his best movie, or whatever that's worth.
Yeah,
it's great because the movie's like barely over an hour, and it seems like 3 hours.
It seems like 3 hours. Yes.
Yeah.
And poor Phyllis Coates, in yet another interview, she basically said her career was so damaged by appearing in this film.
Wow.
That it was really tough for her to get her footing back.
Man.
Well, you know what? The movie that I saw before I saw this one was Unknown World.
Oh, that's a little better.
They
take the submarine and all that stuff.
Yeah, they've got the cyclotram.
Going to the center of the earth kind of thing,
they're drilling in and they're trying to get away from the Earth people who are on the brink of nuclear war.
Yeah, and he stands a cold ship. And,
and that one is similar in the sense that nothing really happens, but at least their interaction and their scientific expedition is just way more interesting.
Yeah, yes,
and it's better acted, and there's the brink of nuclear war thing that's hanging above them.
Right.
I remember I liked that one enough to go, I'm kind of on this tear now of I want to watch something else where they go underground, but I don't want to be Journey to the Center of the Earth, and then this fucking thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have you ever seen Frankenstein's Island?
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
What's that one?
That's Jerry Warren.
That's one of his last ones, right? Yeah.
That was his last film. Yep.
Yeah, that's Robert Clark, Cameron Mitchell, Zombies, Catherine Victor. That one's
Carradine again. Yeah,
that one's insane.
Did you say the Zombies?
There's zombies in it, which is basically guys wearing turtlenecks who stare a lot, and it's terrible. It's so bad. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I mean, if you
have a zombie, just give him a dickie. You don't need to give him a full.
It's pretty bad.
So you would not recommend that?
No.
Okay.
No. In fact, that is when you got up in the middle of the night and you went to the refrigerator to get some leftovers.
Yeah.
Maybe pour yourself a cognac because you got a little bit of insomnia.
Right.
And then that just happens to be on. and you don't even
Right,
get
right.
you don't even get to the cognac. You are out cold in the living room on the floor.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Nice one, Matt. Courtney.
Well, I'm once again holding up the banner for a 1950s movie that should be rediscovered, and it's kind of dismissed, and it really shouldn't be, and that's Daughter of Horror. And the movie, if it's known at all, it's the film that's playing at the theater in The Blob.
Oh,
Yes, that's like the
Oh.
short. It's like about an hour long, right?
Yes.
That's
And
a
it was
cool movie.
It's a very interesting movie, and it's very cinema verite and shot in Venice and whatever. Ed McMahon is the narrator, although you wouldn't recognize his voice, really. And it is this descent into madness. Angela Rosito is in it.
Right.
And it is such a, I don't want to say like exploration of kind of beat mentality at the time, or
Yeah.
I don't know quite how you would categorize
Is
it.
it kind of like this woman? It's like exploring this woman's psyche, and she's like
Yes.
being
Well, she thinks she's having a nervous
seduced.
breakdown.
Yeah,
and yes,
she's being seduced by vices and things, and
that's right.
Yeah, there's almost no dialogue, right?
There is no dialogue. It was
Yeah,
shot
yeah.
completely silent, and then they added this narration. It's a really interesting film. And again, just like with Indestructible Man and some other movies, Jacques Tourneur's Nightfall, which we love, is this great look at Los Angeles at this time.
Yeah, kind of like Blood. What's the Blood? What's the one Blood? The other movie that was in Venice that Corman produced, Stephanie Rothman directed.
Bloodbath.
Bloodbath. Yeah.
Bloodbath.
That's
Yes.
It's kind of
Bloodbath.
has that
Yes.
look and feel a little bit to it.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
And again, it's a kind of another film that falls through the cracks, or just becomes, if you will, cannon fodder for all these worst of lists.
Yeah, yeah.
And it really doesn't belong there.
Has it ever been officially released? Like, I mean,
As far as I know, no.
yeah, I mean, I think you can find it on YouTube or on like, but like, I've never seen like a nice deluxe version like this.
Oh, I'd love to see it. And
Yeah.
also the making of it was kind of an interesting story. And again, it was just kind of one of those things where it was a bunch of people getting together and, hey, can we put this together over the weekends? Because,
Wow.
of course, everybody was thinking about drive-ins and what have you
Right.
for distribution because it was so hungry for product. But now if it's known for anything, again, it's the movie, right up there on the movie theater, along with Bela Lugosi, with a poster for a non-existent Bela Lugosi movie that has Robbie the Robot on it.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And they all come streaming out, but that's it. Daughter of Horror.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've always wanted, you're right. It's like been around forever, and it's a good spooky little thing to watch, actually.
Absolutely. I would say in its way, it is, almost the cousin to Carnival of Souls. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
I gotta watch this again.
Yeah,
I think
definitely worth seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
cool.
might have seen a few minutes of this, 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like if Coffin Joe was an American making movies in the 50s. It's a little bit like
No.
a little bit like that.
Yes.
I enjoy me some Coffin Joe, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds good.
Cool.
Nice one, Courtney. Sean?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one really is obscure and really bad. I don't know if anybody knows this one. Maybe Courtney, you might know about this one, but this is a quintessential example of a film that it would be just as a kid. It would be on like at 2:00 in the morning, and I'd see the title of it sounds really cool. Like, wow, what's this? I gotta check this out. And it's a baffling experience. The movie is from 1978, though most of it I think was filmed much earlier. It's called The Lucifer Complex. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Never heard of it.
This is in fact, I think David Hewitt made what is part of the initial movie. Basically, this is what I think I had read about. And maybe in the late 60s, maybe very early 70s, David Hewitt and some filmmakers made a kind of like Boys from Brazil sci-fi action thriller about modern day Germans trying to revive the Nazi party. They're cloning, Nazi leaders to take over the world, right?
Got it.
And it's kind of like a spy action movie with Robert Vaughn basically playing like a Napoleon Solo kind of character. And he's going into this camp to kind of rescue a bunch of women who are captured by Nazis. Keenan Wynn is in it. Aldo Ray is in it. But from what I understand is the movie was never finished. So it was maybe about 45 minutes or to an hour of that film was made. So it was never completed. So somebody took the movie and filmed these kind of bracketing wraparound sections. And the first 20 minutes of the movie, this is what you're watching at 2:00 in the morning. It's like, this is the 70s now. And there's this guy driving around in the mountains and he walks into a cave. Maybe the world's ended or he's the only one left on Earth. And he goes into this cave. And it's like a kind of Batman cave where there's all these monitors of everything. He's watching the world's history on these monitors, and he's sitting here just watching and musing over mankind. And there's footage of world wars or footage of like rock concerts, and it's like, what is happening? And this goes on and on. It's supposed to be like he's commenting and musing on on mankind's fate. And then from there, that was made to kind of pad out the movie, and somehow he's watching a monitor, and then it becomes that movie with Robert Vaughn. And it's just it's hard to explain. It's really baffling. And it's called The Lucifer Complex, and it's a cool title. And so you're watching this old movie, 2/3 of a movie, and it's bad, but it's not like super terrible, but it's just like pretty lame and forgettable. And I think maybe at the end they go back to the guy in the mountain, and it is bizarre, man. I'm telling you, it's like you can find it on like those public domain DVD releases, I think. And I would love to know more about this film, but it seemed like it was, yeah, it seemed like it was always on late night television though, and like always come across, I'm like, oh no, not the Lucifer Complex again.
Oh no.
That's
so
going to
be the name of your autobiography.
Yeah.
Oh no, not the Lucifer Complex.
It's so weird, man. I'm telling you, it's really bizarre. If anybody else has seen this or managed to watch the whole thing, I'd be curious because it is bizarre. I think it was a Gold Key production. I think Gold Key made films like they made a lot of really super cheap movies in the 70s. And I think maybe they did the bracketing scenes. I think that's what it was. They just got this half finished movie and built around it, but it's pretty bad. That's a true turkey. That's one where like, yeah, you wake up, you have insomnia and you can't get to sleep and you see the Lucifer Complex.
Yeah, we have been jumping on David L. Hewitt just a little bit.
Just coincidentally, yeah.
Yeah, coincidentally, and of course also as an optical guy, Willow and some of these giant movies, and he would do these low budget things. But as a side note, when David closed his office and his screening room, I have 2 seats from his screening room in my living room.
Wow.
Those are actually David L. Hewitt's theater seats. So yeah.
Wow.
So
we're giving David some props.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, some of his the Human Duplicators and Journey to the Center of Time, like those films that he'd worked on. Like I love those. I mean, he's he's a scrappy filmmaker and made movies on.
I always felt
for no money.
The Lucifer Complex.
He did kind of, yeah.
I just want to make sure so we're not ragging on him too much, so we might be able to get him on the show. Because I
would be curious to see
the original on the show.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, John Carpenter canceled, Cameron canceled, Joe Dante canceled. So yeah,
yeah, right.
All right. Well, look. Okay, so look, you mentioned your Lucifer Complex. If the pants are off and the wine and maybe I'm the shirt's off too and it's really dark,
lampshade,
warm, the lampshade. There's a film I saw as a kid. Late night on Creature Features that I really love. It is considered a big monster turkey, but I happen to have a special place in my heart. Now, Japan has Godzilla. United States, we have King Kong, but the Danes have from 1961 Reptilicus.
Yeah, baby.
Reptilicus again?
What
with you?
I love that.
Do you have a fucking head injury?
Reptilicus isn't on our list from last time.
No, but we have talked about it about maybe 45 times, maybe.
Go ahead. You've got new information. Go ahead.
Okay. No. So apparently, you guys don't feel that it belongs in this topic. I think it does.
It's a turkey.
It's considered a turkey.
I love it though. I do love it though. Larry. Larry, you know that I love Reptilicus.
Well, see,
I have a Reptilicus.
He does have a Reptilicus.
I don't know if you're like making fun of me or something.
I am making fun of you.
Okay, yes, but so look, it's a Danish American co-produced film, and the interesting thing about it that I like.
Really? Let's hear it.
Yes, it's not a guy in a rubber suit. It's a string puppet. And the thing about Reptilicus that I love is it seems it's got this long neck and this vicious mouth that spits this toxic stuff, but you're like, what's the rest of him like? And what's neat is in Sean's toy, you can see he's got these very little legs and like just a little tail.
If only they made the creature. If only they made the creature as well as they did Sean's toy.
Now, here's the thing. Yeah. First of all, what I'm sure you guys know how much I love puppets and how much I love marionettes. We all know.
Yes.
And
puppets and taking off your pants. You just love that.
Well, we're all in the same club with that.
So when I saw this for the first time as a kid, I had a bunch of string puppets as a kid. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to make my own Reptilicus. And because I just love this so much.
Now you got me back.
The story follows these miners. They're digging, for something. They find, what is this giant fleshy, tail piece? It's like a giant lizard or something. And so they bring it to the zoo and they do this little analysis and they keep it frozen. They go, oh, this is some special, reptile or something. And some clown opens the door or something, and then the skin. They're supposed to keep it frozen, and they didn't keep it frozen. Yeah, I love that. I love that fact the entire creature can grow from just a tail.
Well, it's like on that drill bit and hanging around, and it's bloody and everything.
Yeah.
I have the half sheet is hanging in my bathroom, and I have the Ken Films adaptation. Because I love the shot of the guys on the bicycle going off the bridge,
which is like a real stunt, right?
Yes,
and absolutely. That wasn't like
that was the same guy in The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
But look.
I always wondered about that scene though, like if that was like some other great stunt from some other movie. They really did that for Reptilicus.
Yes.
Sean, they had to do something.
Yes.
And just to let you know, Sean, that is a very famous landmark bridge in the Danish countryside. It's the Langebro
Bridge.
No, it's not Reptilla Bridge. It's the Langebro Bridge. And the funny thing about that sequence, if let's say you finish your turkey and you go, Larry, I don't want to watch all Reptilicus. What you can do is you can go to YouTube, type in Reptilicus trailer. And in the trailer, they show the sequence, and basically what happens is, as Reptilicus is going through the city, people are running to get to this bridge, and it's one of these bridges that opens up so boats can go through. And what they're doing is they have to stop
panicking,
and so people are racing across the bridge, and the bridge starts to go up, and it splits apart. And people
that's a genuinely impressive scene.
It is. The bridge. And then there's some guys on bicycles, and yes, Sean, there are people that jump off. Off. And
if only Reptilicus weren't in the film.
I'm talking. But no, the film kind of follows the same kind of pattern as The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. However, it is in color. It's a little string puppet, and I love it. I actually enjoy it. And so I'm just thinking, under the circumstances, when you had your turkey, I know everyone's going to brag on me here, but I've finished my stuffing and my corn and my sweet potato pie or whatever, and I've had my wine and I'm watching Reptilicus.
Larry, I will join you for that.
Thank you, Sean.
I will, and I'll bring my Reptilicus toy.
Thank you.
Nice.
Well, and now, boy, we just keep getting these filmmaker themes going here.
Sid Pink.
Because Reptilicus is Sidney Pink, just like the Bang Bang Kid. So
now, Courtney, I heard a story. Now, maybe Matt knows everything about this. So, but Sidney Pink directed. They had American actors and they had Danish actors, and Sidney Pink directed a bunch of the American actors. And when they showed it to American International, they go, "This stuff is shitty." And so
Sam Arkoff went berserk. Apparently,
really?
He went nuts.
Yeah. And believe it or not, they had to recut some stuff, film some new stuff, and Pink got pissed, and there was going to be a lawsuit over Reptilicus.
Wow! Can you imagine the court scene for that?
I'm going to take my name off Reptilicus.
Well,
how bad does it have to be for
Alan Smithicus?
There's going to be a lawsuit. There's going to be a lawsuit Tilicus. That's all I know.
Well, Sid Pink, had done quite a bit of work, and of course, one of his others for AIP was Journey to the Seventh Planet with John Agar,
which I love.
Which is also with Ann Smyrner, right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
right.
Greta Thyssen. I'm sorry, Greta
Thyssen, right?
Yes, the Swedish Iceberg. is in and Anne Smyrner is in Reptilicus. So
Right.
forgive me,
Two Danish
ladies
beauties.
from Norway. Yes,
Yeah, I will say they predicted that the film was going to be a smash hit. So the plan was, yes, they thought it was going to be a smash hit. And so what they did is at the end, we think Reptilicus has been destroyed, but we don't actually. There's something that they show because they thought they could bring Reptilicus back, but as we know, the film didn't do as well.
Well, I hear J.J. Abrams is going to be doing a $400 million remake of
just
Reptilicus.
like the Talking Mule series. Francis the Talking Mule.
Well, there was also a kind of a weird Reptilicus footnote. Do you remember that on the Monkeys, for some reason, every time Peter Tork looked through a keyhole, it was Reptilicus?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's right. Was there a Reptilicus comic book too, I think?
Absolutely, there was.
There's a tie-in. I think a Gold Key comic tie-in.
I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Steve Ditko.
Wow.
Did
See?
the artwork for it. Yeah.
There's a whole Reptilicus world we still have to explore.
So, Matt, don't piss all over my Reptilicus.
Here, look, Larry, here's what I do for Thanksgiving. What I do is I get the turkey and then I get a drill and I drill into the turkey and I get a little piece of the turkey that's stuck to the drill.
Yeah.
And then I open the door and I let it escape so it can grow a reptila turkey.
Perfect.
That's great, Matt.
That's great. I like it.
James, can you top Reptilicus?
I cannot top Reptilicus, but
just bring up one of the movies you've talked about 900 times before. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, every movie I've mentioned so far, I've walked out on in a theater, and this was the
you walk out on a lot of movies, dude.
You really do.
So he gets his exercise.
You know what? Seriously, it's almost like. But here's the very first one I walked out on, and it felt weird to walk out of a movie I just paid for.
Okay.
And this was 1986, and it was 10 years. This was a sequel 10 years after the original or the remake of John Guillermin's Dino De Laurentiis's King Kong. The sequel being King Kong Lives.
King Kong Lives.
Now
you walked out of that?
You got to admit, it's not a good movie. I didn't see most of it. I sat through the first half hour. Yeah. And you got to remember, I mean, and it opens pretty well because it takes off right after like the ending of the first one, as I recall. And the premise has to do with a female, and then they have an offspring. And they brought John Guillermin back, which I was pretty impressed by.
Right.
But
isn't there something like where Kong has to get a heart transplant or something? Or like
something. And Linda Hamilton,
you might need one after falling off a building.
Yeah,
he lived after that.
But I was 21 and I was just like graduating.
It was a very good year.
And seriously, it was almost like I feel like I'm kind of in the prime of my life. What am I doing trapped here pretty much all alone in this multiplex theater? And it would be more interesting to go out into the food court and just watch people. At that point,
that movie.
That's a new revelation to have.
I never saw it in theaters. I did see it on TV, and I think it took a while to get. I couldn't get through it in one sitting. It is pretty. It's just so unmemorable and like
it has zero momentum. There's nothing. There's no driving force in that movie. Not in the narrative.
What an odd.
I just want to see the people that like every time you go to the movies, they're like, oh, it's him again. You know, give it. Let's see if he can beat his record. 25 minutes.
But so here, remind me. I know that Dino De Laurentiis' King Kong when it came out. I know that it ended up being a disappointment. But did it do well?
It did.
It did, right? Because it was such hype, and I think it still did well enough.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it was compared to the original, and everybody thought it was, but it did well enough, obviously, to warrant a sequel.
You saw it 10 times?
I did.
You paid to see it 10 times.
Well, I was a kid. I had, there might have been a couple parents, who taking their kids and they wanted to bring me along. Oh, I want to see King Kong or whatever,
Okay.
Yeah. But I saw it 10 times. It was King Kong.
But it was also
it lives.
a sequel that was, it was, they didn't exactly rush into it. I mean, 10 years later.
Yeah, that's what's so weird.
At the time was opening up his North Carolina studios, and he was producing all this shit, all these Stephen King adaptations and Year of the Dragon and all this other stuff. And it's like, all right, I'll just do a King Kong.
Yeah, like an afterthought.
Exactly.
And one of the great posters for the first film with Kong on the Twin Towers.
Yes.
Crushing the jets. And
that is an iconic poster. It really is. And the thing is, we've talked about this too. Like that movie, I appreciate more. There are elements of that movie that I really do like and think are good.
I don't hate it.
No, yeah. There are definitely big flaws and drawbacks in that movie, but there are good things too. Like the score is great. I actually love the cast.
I'm entertained when I watch it.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw the trailer for the Peter Jackson film at Comic-Con, I was like, oh, this is going to blow the 76 one out of the water. And the Peter Jackson one was so disappointing that it made me appreciate the 76 one more.
Well, you got to sit through 45 minutes of that fucking backstory. And really?
45 minutes of Ann Darrow's acting backstory. You're right.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind the backstory so much. There were other things in the film that kind of pulled me out of it.
Well, yeah,
Jack Black.
CGI.
It's the kind of thing where that's the thing. It's the kind of thing where I can sit and watch the Dean Laurentiis version again easily. I have no desire to revisit Jackson's at all.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, yes, there's impressive stuff, but it was kind of like
it's like everybody, but everybody can. It's these days. It just seems like anybody can do that kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Whereas back in our day. Somebody who was really good at doing stop motion animation, there weren't that many. Well, there was only one Ray Harryhausen, but nobody could do what he did.
Right.
And so it made it special where it seems like everybody can do this kind of stuff now.
I know.
Okay.
But I will say Peter Jackson is an amazing filmmaker, and we hope to get him on the show.
He is. And I don't hate that movie either.
No, neither do I. But it's a bit of a slog to get.
Disappointment. Yeah.
Well, if you want to hear this is terrible, but somehow it fits into the theme of what we're talking about. A friend of mine and I went to a premiere screening of Sheena, starring Tanya Roberts. Directed by John Gillerman.
That's right.
And we were cackling and making smart-ass remarks and just being young filmmaking punks.
Right.
John Gillerman was sitting right behind.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
No, I am absolutely serious.
That is great.
I've never felt so bad in my life. I have, but
how did you find out? Did he say something?
Well, no, I recognized him. The lights came up, and there he was. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Gosh.
He didn't say anything. He just, sat there and was speaking to somebody else. But obviously, he heard us. So yes, we were just, young, arrogant jerk offs.
Right.
And
But what did you think of Tanya Roberts, though?
Yeah, come on. I mean, that movie.
The movie was not particularly good, but this is the thing. It's the slag at a major director who stubs his toe. Look, you want Don Siegel to be judged by Jinxed?
Right.
Come on. And so, we didn't have enough experience or knowledge or age or brains to understand this. And it's like, I'm sorry, this is still the guy that made the Towering Inferno. This is still the guy that,
Yeah.
I'm impressed with that. You could still even recognize with John Gillerman what he looked like.
From the King Kong paperback, because they had all those pictures of him with his pipe, staring up there.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yep.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah. We might be able to get Tanya Roberts on the show, and I just want to make sure we didn't bag on her.
No.
I think
we love Tanya.
She can do no wrong.
I'm Facebook friend. I don't know why, but I'm Facebook friends with her.
So am I.
So maybe. Oh, cool.
Devil.
Let's get her on.
Let's get her on.
I'm going to work on that, guys. I have a connection.
Okay, great.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Nice.
That's a good one.
How about you, Matt?
Well, James, since you brought up a film that's not really old, I'm going to go with one that's from 1984. This is a movie that has been derided. I didn't like it that much when I saw it in the theater. Over the years, I have grown to like it. And every time I watch it, I enjoy it a little bit more, and that is Dune.
Oh, yes.
David Lynch's Dune.
Same as you, Matt. Same way. I really have come to appreciate the movie a lot, actually. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. When I saw it in the theater, I had just read all the books. It really deviates from the books by Frank Herbert. I felt like they were either trying to cram too much into the movie or not enough. The pacing was a little weird. And yeah, I was left feeling I didn't really know what to feel about the film at the end.
Right.
But one thing that has stuck with me and that I did even appreciate then is just how beautiful it is. Like the design.
It does not look like any other movie.
The thing that really stuck out to me, the ships, the palaces, being able to meld medieval style into science fiction and have it work.
Right.
And all the design, the costumes are amazing. I think a lot of the cinematography is really beautiful. And there are scenes like there's that fight in the beginning where they're wearing the force field suits.
Yes. The force field suits. So cool.
I went back and watched that again, and I think that's really effective. It's a really nice way to use CGI without overstretching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's also like Lynch knows how to populate his movies with like just really fascinating character actors. Like he just puts so many great people in little parts too. And like, that cast is just amazing.
Patrick Stewart, Brad Dourif, Dean Stockwell, Virginia Madsen.
Like people like them, you would never think no other filmmaker would put those people in that movie. Yeah. Like only Lynch would do that.
Yeah. So I do enjoy it every time I put it on. I enjoy it more. And you put the Blu-ray in and it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
But that is one that I would say, it's after the meal. You've got everybody gathered around the TV. Everybody wants to watch something different. You go, hey, let's watch Dune. And so for about 25 minutes, you're arguing with everybody in the house because nobody wants to watch Dune.
Right.
And then you put on Dune. And what happens? You lose about half the people in the room. But the people who stick
with it,
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Matt, it's funny. We have talked about this before, but it's like I'm one of those guys that I did not read the books, and my best friend at the time had read all of them, and he hated the film because I had no idea about it. I mean, I loved it when it first came out. I remember there was a bunch of controversy about it.
But I remember it really got lambasted when it came out, and it really was a bomb. And I think now it has been looked at again.
Yes, and if you guys remember, David Lynch, he took his name off the film because remember he was planning to do something much more, and I think it was the studio that said, "Look, we're going to condense this into one film, and we're going to change some things," and he was upset. So he took his name off the film. I wonder what it would have been like if they would have let him to do everything that he wanted. But, that's the film we'll never see. But, Matt, as it is, like you, I enjoy it. And, I think it holds up. I think it's beautiful.
Me too. Yeah.
I think the effects really do hold up.
Well, it's also he's a surrealist filmmaker making a big budget Hollywood movie. And that was very rare. You see it now and it's like, wow, that's different. And now you appreciate different more.
Right. Yep, it's a good one.
Well, this has been fun, hasn't it?
It's been great.
It
we could go on and on.
We really could. Well, what do you say we do a lightning round? Huh?
Okay, just throw out a couple and then
a few more turkeys, and we'll do it fast. Okay, Courtney, how about you? Want to give us a couple?
Okay, I have a universal double feature, and again, I'm kind of going to themes tonight, but the Mummy's Tomb is always slagged, and I do not get it.
Is that the last of the sequels?
That is the first one. It's the very first one, and everyone jumps on it because it has the flashback sequences from the Mummy's hand.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so I say, look, morons, don't watch Mummy's Hand and Mummy's Tomb back to back, and you'll be very happy.
Right.
And the flashback scenes, because then you have Dick Foran older and Wallace Ford older.
Right.
But the movie itself is so beautifully shot by George Robinson. I think this is the one where Chaney really is obviously wearing a mask.
Yeah, but it's a nasty movie, though. Everybody gets so many people get killed in that movie.
And the fight between Chaney and Wally Ford, they were very good friends in the alley when he is smashing Kyrus with the boards, and
Right.
Kyrus is throwing them around. That is the moment, and this is the film, and certainly his performance had a lot of impact on the way Hammer interpreted the Mummy when they did the first one.
I think you're right. Hey, Courtney, you get no argument from me. I'm always been championing all the Karras films. I love all those Universal Mummy films.
And it's so well made. And the fiery climax there in the Gothic mansion is terrific. Turhan Bey is wonderful. Absolutely terrific. Now, on the flip side, a movie that drives me crazy because it really sucks from one of my favorite series, and that's the Sherlock Holmes Pursuit to Algiers. It is the big turkey of the Rathbone, Nigel Bruce.
Now, which one is that one?
Which one?
That's the one where they're on the ship where Rathbone is hardly in it, and it's Nigel Bruce interacting with Martin Koslick and all these guys, and they're all like spies. It is horrible. It was at the point where I think Roy William Neal was ready to get the hell out, and everybody was really, even though they did one more, they did Dress to Kill,
right,
and also The Woman in Green, which is good, but this one is just it stinks on ice and should be totally excised from one of the great movie series.
Yeah, because in general, I love all the Universal Rathbone.
I do too.
I love them. Yeah,
but that one, you'll put a gun in your mouth.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one. Yeah,
it's absolutely
okay, it's good, cool.
John,
very good.
All right, here's two. This one I think I may have mentioned before. Speaking of Basil Rathbone, unfortunately, his last movie. This is from 1967, Hillbillies in a Haunted House.
Oh yeah,
you know what? That was on my list.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those kind of so bad it's good to a point. It's Gene Yarborough who directed House of Horrors, King of the Zombies, The Devil Bat. He directed it. The thing is, it's actually a sequel to a movie called Las Vegas Hillbillies with Mamie Van Doren. But this one is the horror spoof, and it has like Merle Haggard and Sonny James and Joy Lansing, who was just this blonde bombshell, who is really
incredible,
stunning actress, and she's really quite charming. And she sings, and she's a good singer. So in the movie, Joy Lansing is like a country singer, and her and Merle Haggard and Sonny James are on their way to Nashville to do like this big country music concert, and they have to stop at their car breaks down or something. You have to stop at a haunted house. Now, first of all, I love all kinds of music, but I genuinely despise country music. So there's a lot of country music numbers in this, which I literally fast forward through. But you got your typical kind of, Bowery Boys, Abbott and Costello kind of style antics in a haunted house with Joy Lansing. And what's great though is it's like a haunted house, but it's a cover for a bunch of spies who are trying to steal rocket fuel from America for some.
Who are they?
And they are John Carradine, Lon Chaney Jr., and Basil Rathbone.
How do you like that?
And an Asian actress too. She's like running. She's like the Japanese spy, and they're
I like there you go. It's you mentioned all the names, and then there's an Asian actress.
but it's like they're spies. They have this whole control center in the basement. There's a gorilla in it that Lon Chaney controls. It's ridiculous, but it's kind of fun. Except for you have to fast forward through all the country music.
I don't mind. I'm not a big country person, but I don't mind when it's older.
Yeah, it's
a little better to me.
Yeah, vintage country music.
And it's because some of those are almost like novelty songs. Like
it is movie, like that.
Sonny James sings this song, "The Cat Came Back."
Yes,
and it's all about
song.
Yeah, and it's all about this, the cat that they keep trying to kill. And it's, playing off of the 9 Lives thing, but
right.
As he's singing the song, they try to kill it with dynamite. Nothing works. The cat keeps coming back. And it reminds me more of Pet Sematary than it does, the 9 Lives sequence in a cartoon.
Right. But yeah, it's a pretty bad movie, but that would be a fun one after when you're just done with the dinner and you're just sitting and relaxing. Right, Courtney, have you seen this one?
Oh, I know. I listen. Plus, don't forget, Gene Yarborough was the primary director of the Abbott and Costello television show.
That's right. Yeah, it has that kind of a little bit of a feel to it,
And I'm kind of in with the Grand Ole Opry and all that stuff. Because boy, those guys are whiskey drinking sons of bitches, and they
exactly.
They were hardcore guys, and so I kind of like the movie for that. And Lon Chaney actually is good. You had that weird thing with Carradine making faces on the monitor.
They're pretty lively in this. Like, you know.
Yes, they are. And I'm sure they're having a fine old time.
Yeah. I mean, even Rathbone, who was up there in age, like I said, this is the last movie, but they were giving you all they got. And, you know, and look, I mean, Joy Lansing is quite the charm.
Oh, God.
Presence, I'm telling you.
Linda Ho as Madame Wong.
Linda Ho as Madame Wong.
And Virginia Ann Lee as Agent Ming Toy.
There you go. Yeah, wow. But it's ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. Another one that's not very much fun is one from 1973, directed by Harry Essex, who wrote The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Mm-hmm. It Came from Outer Space, also directed Octoman. This is along Octoman level. We're talking about a film called The Cremators. Very, very strange, obscure movie you'd find on late night television, based on a short story called The Dune Roller. And this is a weird movie where it's basically like this huge burning alien sphere, like ball of energy, just rolling around the desert and consuming people and turning them into ashes. And there's a scientist who finds these kind of glowing minerals that are connected to the Dune Roller thing. And he has to kind of stop this thing from rolling around, killing people. It's really weird, but it's pretty boring. I mean, it has this weird, odd kind of charm. Some of the effects are not bad. Doug Beswick, who later went on to do big effects movies for Star Wars and all these movies, he worked on the effects. The lead actress is Maria de Aragon, who played Greedo in Star Wars.
Oh,
yes. And she's in it. And it's not a very good movie. It's one of those like insomnia late night films. You know, Harry Essex was not a good director. He just was very, very flat, lifeless direction. It's, you know, it's a short movie, but it kind of drags, but it's just so weird. That's another one where I'd say if you can't sleep, put that one on. You'll be asleep pretty quick. Do you know this one, Courtney?
I sure do. And thing is, Harry Essex, the one film, and even this isn't very good, but it's still got that 50s punch, is he directed I, the Jury.
Right.
Immediately after, Kiss Me Deadly in 3D, which has one of the best killings of a legless man ever. Now, that's the opening of the movie. The guy's and he gets shot and he's crawling across the floor.
Wow.
Remember? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's great stuff. But Harry's directing career is a little problematic. Let's put it that way.
Real challenge. We try to watch Octoman and The Cremators as a double bill and see if we can make it through.
Just watch Sons of Katie Elder, which he wrote, and then
do that. There you go. So there you go. There's my two.
All right, nice one, Sean. All right, well, look, I don't want to have a film make a double bill where you're watching by yourself. This is when you have a couple of your family members. And look, I know we've talked about these before, but again, this is called turkeys. Okay, will you just shut up? Just shut your mouth. Just shut it. Okay. It's like, okay, so again, your stomach is like bloated, and you're just
your pants are off.
Your
pants are off over on your head now.
That's right. And you just, you need some ridiculous big space battle bug movie, and I think it was considered a bit of a turkey. And that would be from 1997, Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers. And look, not a great film, but under the
I disagree.
I think it is. I think people misinterpreted that movie when it came out.
Do you guys know the film cost over like 110 million to make? It just barely made back what it
shows on the screen though.
It is, but Sean, I would say that people consider it to be a turkey. They did make other variations of the film, or I should say, like sequels. But they were like real much cheaper, and this was like a big budget one. I think the bugs are great, and they say, oh, there's a bunch of fascism in there, and
that's what it's about.
The point.
Yeah. But
who thinks it's a turkey?
It's my interpretation It's maybe not considered to be a great film, but if you're sitting with your pants off after you eaten a Thanksgiving dinner and you're watching, see, Courtney's raising his hand. He goes, "That's me," And what?
No, completely endorsing what you're saying. I would recommend everybody go on YouTube, but I cannot remember the title of the movie. I think it's called Forever Alamo, or else just put in Starship Troopers Alamo. Mm-hmm. Somebody did a mashup of the John Wayne movie and Starship Troopers, and they are fighting the bugs. It is absolutely unbelievably well done.
Really?
And Eastwood is in it, and Robert Mitchum, and Richard Widmark, and Wayne, and all these. Wow. And the way it is edited and it's about 8 or 9 minutes long, and it's glorious. Wow. And it would not be there except for Starship Troopers. So
Starship Troopers Alamo. I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's cool.
Yeah, imagine if you're watching that at a double bill with, and I know we've talked about this before too, but for 2012 Prometheus. Turkey.
Okay, well,
yeah.
See, and I'm glad on that one that we've never talked about.
No, the funny thing about it, for listeners, if you're a longtime listener, we did a show called "What the Hell's Wrong with You?" Or I Can't Believe You Like That. Where we had these friends. We had these friends and talked. They raved about how much they loved Prometheus and came up with all these kind of ridiculous logical explanation about. And we're like, what the hell movie did you watch? But I will say. The film does look beautiful. And the funny thing is anytime I catch it, I laugh because it makes me angry. Some of the stuff that happens, it's like, this is so stupid. This would not happen if you had these scientists go out into outer space, but it does look great. And there are some neat sequences in it. So again, I think if
I'm never, ever going to go near that film ever again.
Nope.
I mean, I would never watch that ever.
But you'll do Reptilicus.
Not waste 2 more hours. Yes.
But you'll do Reptilicus.
I'll watch Reptilicus tonight.
I will watch Reptilicus rather than Prometheus.
All right.
And stay away from Alien Covenant at all costs.
Yes.
No, that one's horrible as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, James, how about your double bill?
I got an animation double bill.
Okay.
And I can't say that I didn't walk out on these movies, and I can't say that they're bad movies, but they were disappointments. The first one, when I was growing up in the 80s, I developed a kind of an adult appreciation for Hanna-Barbera in a different context. I saw that, I appreciated the humor more. I was able to look back with some nostalgia. And in the 80s, for some reason, maybe because it was in syndication, but the Jetsons was enjoying this kind of renaissance. It was very, very popular. Mm-hmm. Not sure why, but they were talking about making a feature with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn and bringing.
I remember that. Yeah,
and that actually I thought might have been kind of fun.
Yeah.
But instead, that didn't happen. And Hanna-Barbera made a theatrical feature, the Jetsons movie, in 1990. And naively, my expectations were a little high. So I went to see it in the theater again. I think I was the only one in there. And, they made a big deal out of Tiffany, the pop singer at the time, because she was voiced.
That's right. I remember that. Right. Yeah.
They had the same voices, George O'Hanlon and Mel Blanc and Penny Singleton and Don Messick. And there was just nothing to it. There was no reason for a big budget theatrical rehash of the
James, you're saying they were still the original voice actors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know they were still around then. Wow.
They were then, yeah. But it was all there wasn't much to it. I mean, they were able to bring in some computer animation, which was kind of cool the way they melded it. But there wasn't much of a story. There wasn't much of a script. And I mean, it was for kids. So what did I expect? It just wasn't, it wasn't clever. And then the second part of this double bill is not genre, but bear with me because it is kind of Thanksgiving themed, and that is Disney's 1995 Pocahontas. And the reason I bring this up in the same context as the Jetsons is because up until then, Disney had been making, since The Little Mermaid, must-see theatrical features. Little Mermaid was very, very good. Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture. Aladdin, these were clever movies that adults could appreciate with really good songs. And everybody at the time went to see them in a theater.
Yeah, they were big hits. So they were pretty,
Yeah, right. And in kind, I went to see Pocahontas with pretty much the same expectations. And, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad film. I think it's probably a very good film. But I remember sitting in the theater and thinking to myself, there's no real reason for me to have bought a ticket to this movie. It's not all that.
I could have
It's
told
got
you
some,
that, but
Well, see, live and learn. It's got some good stuff in it. It's some
how
good
are the songs?
The songs are okay. It's Alan
Pocahontas,
Menken,
where the
you know.
wind comes.
Well, it's funny.
The songs won an Oscar, by the way.
Did they?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
All right, well, there you
there
go.
was that one.
They have
there
to be
was
good
one really
then,
big
right?
song.
Wait. It's
Colors of the Wind. Colors of the Wind.
Colors of the
That's
Wind.
right.
And
It's a good
however, it's a good song, not necessarily the most memorable song, not like Let It Go, you know, from
Right.
No, that's a great song, Matt. And they have other songs. But to follow up with James, James, I didn't think many of the songs were that great or memorable.
Yeah, they're
Most of them
no no Cat Came Back. You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And that was when Disney theatrical animated features jumped the shark for me. Because I was like, you know what? I might not go see all these from now on. And I didn't.
Right.
So, yeah, there you have it.
Okay.
Well,
Can't we just stop hurting Native Americans, please?
Oh, hey, no offense.
well,
no
look,
offense.
hey, look, in
No, I'm saying the movie.
No, in defense, no.
Oh,
have
yeah.
you seen it, sir? Because they're trying to tell Pocahontas' story, and the way they did the Indians and Pocahontas, they're beautifully done. I mean,
I'm
they
sure
look
they
nice.
are.
They tried to use the like the special Indian language, and they were trying to be respectful and stuff. It's just, you know, when you compare it to something like the three films that, you know, James just mentioned, you know, Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, it's just not that memorable.
I'm
No,
guessing that the way that the story of Pocahontas is portrayed in the animated version isn't exactly how it really went down.
You think?
Probably.
No,
Maybe you're right. Whereas the Reptilicus movie is exactly how it happened in real
That
life.
happened.
Yes.
No,
That is
Did-
faithful to the book.
no, Disney should have just played it safe and done a musical version of Ulzana's Raid or Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk. That's what that movie needed, was songs.
Oh God, no! It needed nothing. It is perfect. That movie is awesome.
I agree.
I disagree.
Matt is not
No,
a
I know
fan. Matt is
That's
not
where
a
that's
fan.
our line of demarcation here.
Interesting.
Well, Matt, why don't you give us a double bill?
Here's one I think we will agree on. It's not necessarily recognized as a bad film, but I think people look at it as like a B movie. But I think it's pretty clever and it doesn't get the respect it deserves.
Okay.
But I like this movie, and it's called The Undead, 1957, directed
I
by
love that
Roger
movie.
Corman.
Love it. Love it.
Pamela Duncan, Allison Hayes.
Yes.
Yep.
And so Duncan is Diana Love, a prostitute.
Yeah, oh yeah,
course.
it's the whole like the Bridie Murphy thing.
Yes,
It's-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's regressed, hypnotically regressed back to the Middle Ages, where she is on trial for being a witch.
Yeah.
And there is a real witch.
Yeah.
That's Allison Hayes. And she's hanging out with Satan himself.
Yeah. Classic kind of Satan with the beard.
But,
He's
and
like,
with the little horns and the whole
yeah,
thing.
he's great. He's got Billy
And-
Barty in it.
Yeah. And so, this whole movie is the push and pull of, her trying to keep ahead of the authorities and yet escaping the clutches of Diana, who is this real witch,
Right.
and Satan. And
yeah, it's like a good versus evil thing.
Yeah. And so in the movie, as she's being regressed, her psychiatrist or the psychic who's regressing her enters her world.
Yeah.
And
It's very unique for us.
It's a clever thing. And so he's in her world, and then there's a twist at the end that I think is really good.
And that's one of the few Corman films from that time that has not been given an official release either on DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, it's a really different, fanciful kind of film. It's cool.
And I think that was Chuck Griffith wrote that script, didn't he?
Right, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that poster, the Al Callis
Yes.
artwork
Yeah, the
is
skull.
absolutely,
Yeah.
that skull is just terrific. But you know what? And here, guys, something that you guys are very intimate with. When you talk about Bridie Murphy, the impact that whole thing and the fascination with reincarnation and putting people under hypnosis to get their stories, the alligator people.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
that kept coming up in genre films at this time because it
like
was,
the she creature too.
Absolutely, yeah,
same kind of thing. Yeah, that was a whole little subgenre for a while. Yeah.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah.
But I feel like this is one that at least nowadays you don't hear as much about.
No.
Oh, no.
And it's kind of playful too. Like it's kind of like it's very different for a Corman film at that time. Like
it's a little stagey.
Yeah, but I like
but
that.
in a way that I think is alluring. Like I feel like
me too.
It has a mysterious quality because of that.
Yeah.
Like it's almost happening in a dream state.
Yeah.
And in fact, didn't they shoot it in a supermarket on Santa Monica Boulevard or something?
Really?
No, Roger Chocolate, because they couldn't. The problem is they didn't have room for the horse that Richard Devon rides into the scenes, and that the thing was always just out of camera range, and they had to keep.
It has a very quaint low budget feel to it, kind of like.
Yep.
I get the same thing with I always thought it's not a Corman film, but The Thing That Couldn't Die.
Oh,
I love that. I love that ranch setting, and it all takes place in that one spot. I love, and it's just something about that I love, and
it's simple.
Yeah, it's nostalgic.
And it's effective,
but it's creepy too, and that's how The Undead is to me. I enjoy that one a lot. That's a good one. And you're right; it doesn't get enough attention. I mean, you hear people always talking about Attack of the Crab Monsters and all these other movies, but like you hardly ever hear.
That's one that's fallen through the cracks a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
So, and my other one this is one I know that you know of, Sean, and this is from 1963, a film directed by Robert Gordon, starring Michael Gough, Black Zoo.
Oh, awesome!
Yes. Love it.
Black Zoo is another one that has fallen through the cracks.
You're right. People talk about Horrors of the Black Museum
and Conga.
And
I would think more people know about Conga.
Yeah.
Which I think is the worst of those three films.
Yeah. I mean, still really fun, but yeah. Black Zoo is great.
Put me down, you fool.
Yes.
But Black Zoo is really weird because, you've got this private zookeeper who has, and it's kind of like Tiger King, but except in this scenario, Michael Gough leads this group who literally they worship animals.
Right.
And it's like this black magic cult. So anybody who goes against Michael Gough, he'll send his animals out to get them.
Right.
And so you've got real animals. You've got real tigers and a lion, and there's a panther.
It's kind of like a modern day Murders in the Zoo. Right?
Yeah. But with all the real animals, you also get the gorilla from Conga. Of
course. He just keeps showing up.
But it's great. I mean, I love it. And one of the things I really enjoy about it is how violent it is.
Yes, it is.
It's really violent. Elisha Cook, there's a scene where he gets mauled by a tiger.
Right.
Or it's a tiger or a lion. And the wounds are really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sordid story, but I mean, it moves from beginning to end.
Yeah.
That was one that I discovered recently. And I blame Sean for not making me aware of this film earlier.
Sorry about that. But
Black Zoo, I would love to see the injury report to the insurance company. There are so many scenes where obviously the animals are totally out of control.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, Jesus, how could they, because it was Herman Cohen.
Yeah, Herman.
It was Herman Cohen.
Talk about sordid, violent movies from that producer. Yeah,
absolutely. And I love the Black Zoo. And by the way, the press book, if you can get it, is absolutely fantastic, and it's huge.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it has all these great color graphics on the cover. It's wonderful. No, Black Zoo is out of its mind. It's great.
I mean, there's these shots where it's just Michael Gough, and then like there's a lion, another lion, and they're all like in his living room, but they're real lions, and they're all it's not like a shot where they photographically put
faked it or split screen or something.
They're there. And I was thinking the same thing that you said, Courtney. I'm just like, wow, how many times did one of these animals just go rah? And you're like, hey, no, just walk it off,
Right. Wow, that's a good one. I like that.
Nice one.
Nice.
Well, an animal, the turkey, you
right,
could say is violently killed. And so you
Sure.
could say that this movie is the topper. It's the revenge.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
revenge of Thanksgiving.
There you go.
All right.
Nice one, Matt. Well, Courtney, I want to thank you so much for being with us tonight
Yeah.
and
Well,
giving us some great turkey.
It's been so
today.
awesome, man.
I always love you. I
Well,
miss you.
you guys are
can't wait to hang again.
always the greatest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you guys are the greatest, and we finally did also me, imposing myself on Monster Party. Now we did something else in common, so I'm so glad that worked out.
Oh,
Of
Now-
course.
Mhm.
And
Of
what
course.
was that, guys?
Yes.
We did this
And it-
Hammer box set.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, you
20
did.
movies. 20
Yeah.
movies.
And a
Courtney,
brilliant job.
Courtney
Thank you very
introduced
much.
us to the
Yes.
Mill Creek folks, and we were able to participate in that set, and we did the commentary on the Old Dark House, and it looks a beautiful set. Courtney, you did the commentary as well on other films and that, and it seems like it's going to be an awesome release.
Tell the folks what films you did.
Well, I actually although I was kind of, overseeing or whatever, getting people together, with Dan Griffith, I actually only did the commentary on one. I did The Snorkel
Which I love
With-
that movie, by the way.
with Fief Sutton and Mark Jordan League. And then I wrote all the notes and all this stuff for the promo stuff and everything
Right.
that comes with that one. And we did those featurettes also that are on there.
Yes, I can't wait to see those.
The Snorkel
Yeah.
is one of my favorite Hammer thrillers.
Yeah, it's so unique. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's just a very unique story.
I was going to say, Courtney, you did this great commentary in this Hammer Films, The Ultimate Collection by Mill Creek, but you also have done a bunch of other stuff that has come out recently. Want to tell us about
Yes,
those?
what's some of the other releases?
Well, yeah, this month, just by sheer coincidence, the kind of things that have been stacked up for the year all kind of came out at the same time. David Delval and I did Seven Sinners, John Wayne and Marlena Dietrich for Kino. And then I followed that up with How to Make a Monster with David for Shout, and then War of the
Love
Colossal
that.
Beast for Shout with Don
Nice.
Bluth and Eric Hoffman.
nice.
And then we did Hammer. And then we also did Inner Sanctum,
Ah, yes.
Wow.
also for Mill Creek, and a couple of commentaries on that. There's a documentary that I did with Daniel, and he did a brilliant job, as he always does. And then also I wrote the booklet that was included. But on that side, the transfers that Universal gave us are just they're gorgeous. I mean, and the movies have never been on Blu-ray at all, which also about half of the Hammer titles have
I
never been on
know.
Blu-ray in the
Right,
United
yes,
States.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, and the bargain, of course, we all think about Indicator and they put the bar up so high, but still to collect all those sets is
Oh my God,
multiple
it's-
hundreds of dollars.
You have to be independently wealthy. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
unfortunately you do. And
yeah.
so I think we really came through with that. And let's see, upcoming here in the next 2 weeks, I did a commentary for Columbia Noir for Indicator on the Don Siegel movie, The Lineup. And then I wrote the documentary about Carolco Pictures for the big Steelbook release of Total Recall.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's
cool.
That's coming out. Yeah, I did that with Dan Griffith, and we just recorded yesterday. I did a commentary for Arrow on Lucio Fulci's Massacre Time,
Which one?
the Massacre Time, the Franco Nero Western
Oh,
that
wow, I
Lucio
have not seen
Fulci
that one.
directed. Yeah,
Wow,
and also
cool.
Roy Rogers' last film, Macintosh and TJ. We just did a really nice
Wow.
commentary on that with Andy Robinson from Dirty Harry, because he's in
Nice.
the movie.
Oh, that's
and, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's neat. So it's a lot of very good things coming up, and I've got some new books coming out and all that type of stuff. And
Man.
we optioned Nemo Rising again, and hopefully that something will happen there. But
Nice.
Nice.
and I'm in the process of writing actually my own biker film right now.
Really?
Werewolves on
Are there werewolves in it?
There are not, but we'll see how it goes. But it's called Blood and Iron, and I'm very happy with the way that's going.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, so
Awesome,
you
man.
know, trying to stay out of the pool hall.
Of course. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You're a national
You're-
treasure, dude.
you are. You
yeah.
really are. Yeah, you're a powerhouse.
Just
Yeah,
stay
tell
away,
that to my landlord.
just stay away from those acid parties, okay?
No, I'll see you there. I'm ready to come back.
Right.
Well,
If anything has sent me back to acid, it's 2020.
All right.
Well, what do you guys say we lift our glasses?
Yeah.
And
woo.
toast C.
This
Courtney
my
Joyner
claw.
and
Oh,
also
gee.
those great, wonderful, terrible turkeys that you'd love to watch.
That's right.
Yay.
Yeah, cheers.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Time for listener shout out.
Shout out. Shout out. Shout out.
This goes out to Martin Hollingsworth from Greensboro, North Carolina,
Right.
who is the
Hey.
proud owner of a Monster Party cap.
Yes.
Nice.
Now he can keep his head warm and look really cool.
Yeah, just in time for
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
Also, our old friend and listener, Walt Keegan from Spotswood, New Jersey,
All right, Walt.
who needed a replacement cap because he wore his out so much that some of the 3 billion stitches were starting to wear out.
oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
Walt, thank you for representing as always. In
I think he
Spotswood,
might
New
have
Jersey.
gotten our last cap.
Yes, indeed. We are now
Wow.
officially out of caps. So we are working on restocking them. So please bear with us and we will announce when we have them back in stock.
Yes,
Yes.
we're
Second
sewing
they're back.
millions of stitches
The
as
second.
we speak.
We have a little crew of little children doing
Yes.
it right now.
And also we
Oh,
want
God.
to congratulate.
Thanks, China.
We want to congratulate our past guest and good friend and listener, Playmate of the Year 2013, Raquel Pomplun.
Yay.
now the
Oh.
mother of a baby girl, Montserrat Pomplun, born on November 9th.
Aw.
Raquel, we are so happy
Yes,
for you.
congrats, Raquel.
Congratulations.
Beautiful little
We-
girl.
Yeah, we look forward to meeting her.
That's
Yes.
great.
And grooming
And
her.
guys,
Yes.
Grooming her to be a monster kid.
Start her listening to the podcast now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
and guys, we also have a new review.
awesome.
Ooh.
Ooh.
This comes from Mick1229,
Oh,
Right?
he's good.
who
Mick.
writes, "Drinking and talking about monsters. What could be better?
Right.
Fantastic chemistry with the lads and great topics. When is the King Kong episode? I'll buy a ticket and fly to Cali just to see it."
It's coming. It's
All right.
coming.
Okay.
Oh, it's
All right.
coming.
All right.
Keep up the great work, boys. Well, thank you, Mick1229.
Yes.
We appreciate that. And
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
And I would like to give a shout out to a longtime listener, a friend, a fan. She's just a wonderful person. And that would be Angela McNichols.
Angela
Yay.
Nichols.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angela McNichols, aside from being a lovely person, is a published author.
Ooh,
Nice.
He has been doing work for the Tennessee Horror News, who have published this book. It's an anthology book entitled Whispers in the Walls.
Whispers
Whoa.
in the wall.
And
Sounds very
as-
Lovecraftian.
Yes, well, as Amazon describes it, Whispers in the Walls is a collection of new and original ghost stories from the writing team at Tennessee Horror News.
Nice.
These ghostly yarns will introduce you to vengeful spirits, cursed objects, and even some humorous hauntings. Includes contributions from Isaac Thorne, Bryce Gibson, Dan Lee, Yeti, a guy named Yeti, and Angela McNichols.
Right.
And a guy named Tyler Dean. But we're really pulling for Angela McNichols because we just couldn't be more proud of her. This is a wonderful achievement. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
Congratulations.
cool.
You can get it
Congratulations.
Yeah.
at Barnes and Noble, and of course on Amazon. They got it listed here for $13.
Wow.
Cool.
Song, come on, look, Christmas, the holiday season is coming.
Yes.
You need to buy things. You need to start buying them now. And if you're like Larry, you need to buy 2 of these. Because you know what's going to happen. You're going to read this thing again and again, and you're going to want one nice for the bookcase.
That's right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
follow
that's
my
fun.
instructions.
Awesome. Congrats, Angela.
Yeah.
I also have a shout out to a longtime listener, Victor Velasquez.
Victor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Victor posted a little blurb on our Instagram page, on our page about our commentary on the Hammer set. He says, "Congratulations, gents. The Old Dark House commentary is informative, engaging, and fun. Plus, it's exceptional Monster Party content. Great stuff. Really brings a lot to this underappreciated gem. Worth the price of the set on its own. Well done. I look forward to the next one.
Oh,
Thanks so much,
Very
Victor.
thank you, Victor.
Give that man a cigar. Man,
Yes, thank you
that
so
is-
much.
that is
Yeah.
what you want to hear.
Yes, that's great.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Yes, very appreciative. Very
Yeah,
nice.
that's great.
And yes, hopefully there will be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we all hope for.
Yes.
I do have to say, I mean, this, aside from what we did, and we're proud of the work that we did for the Old Dark House.
Yes, yes.
But this set, the fact that you're getting not only that, you're getting audio commentary, you're getting featurettes, you're getting C. Courtney Joyner. I mean, there's 20 movies.
Yeah, and movies that you know, they're not all strictly horror, but they're all Hammer and they're all like genre based, but they're all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, like Terror of the Tongs and
Yeah.
Camp on Blood Island, you know, just a really good variety.
A lot of these, I don't know if they've ever been out on Blu-ray.
Right. they
Maybe,
haven't,
maybe
no,
in England. I'm not sure.
some
Right.
and some just DVD, but you know,
Yeah.
plus you got like just great ones like These Are the Damned,
Yeah.
Scream of Fear, like
Yeah.
really, really good. It's like
It's a great set.
a nice collection. It really
Yeah.
is.
So I watched Cash on Demand.
I
And
Great
love
movie,
that.
right?
It was so, my wife and I watched it together and it was just great. And of
You know
course,
what? It's like it's like the
looked
Hammer.
beautiful.
It's like the Hammer Christmas movie.
yes,
It really
You
is.
know
'Cause
what?
it takes
Yes,
place.
yeah,
It
yeah.
takes
It's
place
great.
at the
Yeah.
holiday season. So
It is so
that's
good.
a great film to watch at Christmas
Yes,
time.
love it.
Peter
And
a
Cushing is
different turn.
fantastic.
Yeah,
A different turn from Peter Cushing.
Yes.
yeah. Andre Morell is great in it. Yeah, really
Yeah.
Oh,
Scary. So
terrific.
scary.
good. Yes, he's so good. Yep, that's a good one.
So get this set as well. Get two, and you know why.
Get three. Get one for the whole family. Get one for each family member. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
What if the first two accidentally, your dog grabs it and then just takes off running, and
Yeah,
you never see the set or the dog again?
right.
That means you have one left and another one still.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Right.
happens all the time.
Yeah,
You know it does.
right.
And as we mentioned before, our Monster Party caps are temporarily out of stock, but we still have plenty of the Monster Party t-shirts in stock
Yes, we do.
on our eBay store in various sizes. Our eBay store, Monster Party Store, easy to remember. Yeah, you can buy them off our eBay store or just hit us up on Facebook. Either
Yeah, we'll
way.
work something out
Yeah,
for you.
totally.
Yeah. And shipping is still free.
Yes, it
So
is.
take advantage of that before it changes.
Oh,
That's
my
right.
God.
It's uncanny.
Okay, so here you have merch that you can get, free shipping.
Free
And-
shipping.
And shipping these days can be expensive, but
Yeah.
we are filled with the spirit of giving. That's who we are
Yeah.
as a group.
Right.
And so, in that vein, we have a Patreon account. We have a Patreon page. And if you join Patreon and you buy merch, what we will do is not only will you get the free shipping, but you will also get treasures, free gifts from us.
Free.
Donated by Biff Bang Pow Toys and Jason Lindsay. We'll throw in some treasures into your box. You'll get a t-shirt. You'll get some cool collectibles. And, you're going to get this box. You're going to open it up. You know what? Things are looking up. I think 2021 is going to work out.
Yeah, we all need a little surprises in our life.
Yes. And not only that, but when you join Patreon, you will also get bonus audio episodes, you'll get bonus video, and who knows what other kind of creative nonsense we're going to throw at you on this this Patreon page. And it's pretty easy to do it. All you got to do is just go to patreon.com, just look up Monster Party, click join, follow the instructions, and it's $5 a month. Just
$5.
$5. Just $5.
Wow.
That's nothing.
Yeah, you know what? You'll be rummaging through your old shoes. You'll come. Oh, $5. What am I
Well,
going to do with this?
well,
Hey,
Oh, shoes?
yeah. You know how you keep your money in your
No,
shoes. Everybody
I-
does that.
Look, I find $5 in change stuck in the crevices of my couch every month. So
Yeah.
come on.
I find
You're
them in
gonna
the
say something
crevices of my
else,
shoes. The crevices of your. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I pop the pants, and then suddenly in a crevice, I find $5.
Yeah. There you
I
go.
joined Patreon, and I get free stuff. So yeah,
Right.
it's a great deal. And aside from, us providing you with this stuff, we're also just really, really happy that you're supporting us
Yes.
in any way.
Yeah, we really
Just-
appreciate it.
I mean, and it's the least that we can do is try to come up with, stuff that we can do to repay you for helping us keep this whole thing going. So
Yep.
we really appreciate you.
And let's remind our listeners you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, our Twitter handle at Monster Party HQ, Instagram also Monster Party HQ. And on whatever platform you're listening to us on, please take a moment and write a review. We'd love to hear from you, and we will read it on the air.
Sure will.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Stay safe.
Pop open those pants.
And grab a turkey. Hey,
Courtney.
everybody.
It all looks, we all like live in the same room. It's
I know. Pretty much. Yeah.
Except for James. James
Yeah.
is waiting to be interrogated.
yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very happy that you're here again.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
I figure this is a relaxed kind of fun one. And,
Yeah.
And I know that you'll pull out some gems that we've never heard of, I'm sure.
well, I'm going both sides, films that have kind of been slagged that I would like to defend.
Sure.
Me too.
And also,
Yeah.
a few movies that I've, always had problems with, but, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, does anybody realize Close Encounters is a turkey or, anything.
Oh, no.
There we go.
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
Journey to the Center of Time is kind of more where I'm veering.
I'm with you. I have that on
Oh, my
16.
gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Really?
No, I'm sorry. The
Time
daytime
travelers.
ended,
Daytime ended. Okay.
Oh, there you go. There's,
which I think is more fun than Close Encounters myself.
well, it's got Jim Davis.
Close Encounters, if you've seen it once, there's no need to
Yeah.
ever go back to that.
Yeah.
I've seen it a couple of times. I mean, actually,
There's a
it's one I
couple
probably wanna
special effect
revisit,
shots where you
actually.
go like, hey, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. There's just
No,
not that
I
much
mean,
to it. Yeah.
It's the film remains just such a, if you will, kind of a trailblazer. But that's what often I think happens is these movies that set this template.
Yeah.
If you revisit them, you've seen so many others that have
Yeah.
copied it in some way or another, so it seems artificially old.
Yeah. Kind of stuck in time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do feel like just as a movie, even back then, the buildup, especially the version I saw, just takes so long, and there's so much like just downtime of him building the Devil's Tower and
Out of the mashed potatoes.
and alienating everybody in the house, and it's just like,
Well, I don't mind.
man,
I like
this
it.
is like my life.
I like it better than a special edition, though.
I agree. I totally agree. That was
That was
absurd.
completely unnecessary
Yeah.
and
Well,
stupid.
that was that weird period where Spielberg insisted on going back and recutting and
Yeah.
retooling all of his movies and
He was-
replacing
he
the guns and ET with flashlights.
Yeah,
and
he was hanging out with George Lucas too much.
I
That's
know.
what
There was
happened.
definitely something wrong.
Yeah.
I always thought it was interesting that of all the people, when Universal did the first Blu-rays of Play Misty for me, they gave Eastwood the chance to recut the movie because of the concert sequence in the middle. Which
What?
everyone said, well, it's kind of, yes. And do you want to trim it? And he said, no, look, I wouldn't make the movie the same way now that I made it then, but those were the choices I made then. That's why the movie is what it is.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Right.
I hear Spielberg is going to go back and redo Duel.
No.
And it's revealed that Lonnie Anderson is the driver.
And they just like
Wow.
shake hands and they fall in love and it's a
Yeah,
happy
and it
ending.
becomes kind of a cannonball thing.
Yeah.
You sure it's not Amy Irving?
Yeah. Right.
Is she doing anything? Is she doing anything now?
I don't
I don't know. I think
think so.
Married to Bruno Barreto, and
Wow.
You
I
know,
did. I
very
heard-
rich.
I heard she may have been a handful, as they say.
Yeah, probably.
You know, this is just really weird, just really strange, kind of a sidetrack thing. When my wife was giving birth to Kathy, it was in Santa Monica at St. John's, and we were in the Amy Irving room. It was the Amy Irving.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess, she had a lot of money, and they donated money, and they had
I
a
thought it's
room.
whenever Amy Irving's having a baby, she uses that room.
Or,
Yeah.
or it's like she can come in anytime she wants. She comes in, someone's having a baby.
She delivered your baby, right?
It's like Albert Brooks in real life. It's like, I'm a million miler. Sometimes I go in my room, I just sit.
The Sue Snell room.
Yeah.
That's why we got you on, man. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Hey, so what are we calling this?
What are we calling this?
Because the first one is this is our
Well,
second
it has
one.
to have turkey shoot.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course, like Turkey Shoot the Reckoning or something, or
Ooh.
Turkey Shoot 2020 AD.
No. The return of
Turkey Shoot.
I like your. That's the
Turkey Shoot the Comeuppance.
Or what,
I don't Something.
full stuffing edition. Or
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, no, because then it's just there's
candied,
more.
candied hams.
I like your reckoning.
Or did we use that though for something else already?
I think we used it for something.
Yeah, we did. But something like that. How
about the gobbling?
Gobbler's Revenge?
No. That's
Gobble-
I've seen that movie, and that's another one that does not need to be remade. It's perfect the way it is.
Yes.
So
I've-
it could be Monster Party Turkey Shoot the Gobbling, and then I can do this. I can do.
Okay, you can do
Works
that
for
at the
me.
end. Yeah, the gobbling is not bad actually.
Hey, and you guys just contributed massively to this hammer set. Turkey Shoot has risen from the grave.
Ooh. The old dark Turkey Shoot.
Sounds kind of racist. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. No, we can't go there. That's not cool.
No. There's been enough of that.
Maybe we just stay with Monster Party Turkey Shoot the Gobbling. That's funny, Matt.
It's cute.
It's kind of like the quickenings, the gobbling. Yeah.
Yes, and then I can do the turkey sound and.
Okay. I'm down for that.
All right.
Okay.
Get this started.
All right.
Okay, so Courtney, you know how we do it. We're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
We do our introduction. We're gonna say what the topic is, and then we'll give you a nice little introduction, and then we'll go to town. And then I want to make sure that you've got your list of all these things that are being released. Oh,
Wow. Nice. Larry, are you going to do the introduction?
Well, I've got that in my.
I was going to say the Larry or
Right.
James.
I'll do it.
Yeah, go for it. Cool.
Cool.
And this is cool because this is going to air just a couple days before Thanksgiving, so it's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, it's like Matt has said, you've eaten your turkey dinner, the tryptophan's gone through, you've unbuttoned that button, and what the hell do we watch? And,
Right.
right?
All right, let's do it.
All right. I'll start it and we'll just go. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Moment of silence. Well, you all
Okay,
right with
so-
that, Larry? You look like
No, I'm good. Okay. I'm trying to, there are those times when you want, and I'm like, hold back.
You can. Anytime you
No,
want.
no.
No, if you want to say something, we can redo it and I'll make a little place for you.
No need. Go.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But I you got to let your songbird sing. Whatever
Keep
that
America
means.
Strong.
Keep
Okay.
America strong.
He is an author, screenwriter, director. He's written such screenplays for such great films as Puppet Master 2 and Trancers 3 and The Lurking Fear. And he's also gone
Hey,
on.
wait. Puppet Master 3, right?
3, yes.
Did I say
Aha.
Puppet Master 3?
You said
said
Puppet
2.
Master 2.
Which is a turkey, by the way.
Let's start. Let's
Redo that
Sorry,
one.
I have.
let's
written
not
down
do
here-
that to him. Let's not.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Corey.
please.
And I apologize. I have written.
Well,
here-
that's our show. See you guys
Yeah.
later. Bye.
He directed Glitter, Geely,
Battlefield Earth.
let me take that back.
Okay,
no.
go.
I have a question. You wouldn't possibly, Courtney, have any like headphones because we're getting a dropout with you,
Yeah, every once in a while.
and I think
Yes,
sometimes,
actually, I do.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it helps.
think it might
helps. Because I think when somebody else is
Sometimes-
talking.
Because my Zoom isn't not always the best. I'm doing this through Chrome.
Okay, yeah, I'm on Chrome too.
Is that better?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it is
Nice.
actually.
Yes.
Yep.
Sexy.
You sound like,
Okay. Well, here we go.
you sound like Paul Frees now.
We're gonna have to start the show over again.
Greetings, everyone.
Oh, that means I get to go do a bigger explanation of John Carter.
Yeah,
my
we should do.
God.
We'll do a
One
whole
more
episode
time.
on
Yeah.
John Carter.
Yeah. One of the things I love about doing the show is that I walk away with like 9 more movies.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, I almost brought up a movie, but I thought, we would be going right down the rabbit hole. But,
Do it. Do it.
when we were recording yesterday on Lucio Fulci, and we talked about other guys who are involved with Euro westerns and giallo, the actor George Eastman, who was in a ton of westerns, made a film called Bestiality. Are you aware of this?
No.
No, I know like Anthropophagus and Absurd and
Wrote, directed, and co-starred in the film that was released here as Dog Lay Afternoon.
No.
what? Like a
Yep.
porn film?
Well, yes and no. It's about a young woman, and I've seen the movie. It's about a young woman who walks in on her mother while she is getting romantically involved with the family pet.
Oh,
No.
And this traumatizes her so much, she then can't, deal with things in her adult life, and it turns into kind of this big sexual drama with a suspense thing. It's kind of an
What-
excuse for a giallo.
What year was it? Like it done in the 80s, or when was it done?
No, this is like maybe 1977 or something.
Oh my god! Never heard of that one.
That-
Wow.
If you-
So I held back on that title. So yeah.
Well, we'll probably just use this in the extras anyway. So.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in some crazy. He's been in some.
If
nutty
you
movies.
loved Benji,
Perfect. Yes.
If you loved Lady and the Tramp,
Oh.
Yeah. Well, literally. Yes.
yeah,
wow.
but it's
That's
not
crazy.
pasta this time.
Oh.
This doesn't really sound
Wow.
like
Wow.
a heartwarming Thanksgiving.
That's a crazy one. Yeah,
Holiday.
that's all.
I've never experienced a heartwarming Thanksgiving, so
Right. Wow.